give it to me like.
Every day feels boring, the same thing, routine in the morning. Grew up too fast without warning, and when it rains it's pouring. I got dreams, big dreams, I wanna do big things, but I just can't seem to put it all together. I just wanna be seen. I'm jumping ship, I'm a diving, middle of the ocean, swimming till I find it. I see an island out ahead, filled with things that I've wanted since I was a kid. Swim to it.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I was reduced to watching 2 Moose streams. I'm sorry. What's up, Cindy? Hey, Tinker. Hey, Crystal. Hey, KP. Hey, Amber. I missed you guys. You guys don't even know. I really have. So, what's up, Sly Angel? Even my Patreons don't talk anymore. It's not just like on YouTube. They all like disappeared. I'm like, you guys better not leave me. So I feel ya. And I know that I pissed some people off on Dietz's channel yesterday. So we're going to discuss that too. But I got to get some things out of the way. What's up, Criminal Med? Some things out of the way. First things first. Marissa, not MGL, the other Marissa. I got the box today. Thank you so much. Marissa sent me a whole bunch of, I forgot the name of the company, doTERRA oils. She sent me like 10 different bottles. So I want to thank her so much for that. And I just didn't want to forget. I just got it today. So she's one of the main reasons I went live, because I didn't know how else to thank her. So I'm thanking her this way. So Marissa, thank you so much. And again, not MGL, the other Marissa. I've never used them before, and she used to sell them. So she told me she was going to send me a whole bunch, and she did. And they came in these cute little bags, and she sent me a whole bunch of pamphlets with it. And she had told me a while ago she was going to send them. And it's funny because I was just thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I wonder whatever happened to those oils. And sure enough, they show up today. It's my psychic mind. It was very weird. So cold remedy, I don't know. To me, they're just regular oils. But I noticed, like, even from opening them and smelling them, I could still smell it on my hands. So maybe they are stronger. But yeah, she sent me a whole bunch of books with them, all sorts of stuff. So I'm excited. Secondly, one thing I haven't told you guys, the website is getting a complete fucking overhaul. And that's where I've been putting my time in and energy in. The paint can candles are done. I came up with a design for the labels and we implemented them. Now I just have to put them on the website. If you have been checking the website, you'll know that you keep seeing a lot of changes on the homepage. That's going to stay that way until I get all the pictures done. And then I ran out of labels and I had to order more labels on a rush deliveries. But then I realized that pictures come out best if you do it outside in the sun. So I'm kind of limited in when I could do pictures, and it's been a fucking nightmare. So Yeah. But that's what I've been doing. But let me show you guys the paint can candles. I'm very proud of them. Hold on. And it will be on the website tonight. Ta-da. And those are going to be 15. Probably with $5 shipping. So 20 altogether. And they're 6.5 ounces. But didn't they come out cute? Let me tell you, it took me forever to figure out what kind of label I was going to do on them. I didn't like anything I did. And here we are, the final label. So those are ready. I am adding a whole bunch of scents to the website. And trust me, Sly Angel, I made you some citronelli yesterday. I meant to tell you that today and I forgot. I made I think I made 3 of the regular and 2 of the orange citronelli. I know I'm saying that wrong. I don't know why I can't say it right. But so yeah. So I've been working my ass off on the website, redesigning everything because I hooked up with a marketing person, and this marketing person told me everything that I was doing wrong and why it was important to change. So I've been changing everything. I've been losing my fucking mind trying to get pictures right, but I've been literally changing everything. And then hard-headed me is like, no, I think they're wrong about this. So I went and tried to search, and they turned out to be 100% right. So now I had to go back and redo everything. But we're doing everything right this time. It's taken me a lot longer than anticipated, but everything is getting a major overhaul. So like SEO is being redone, keywords, just everything. So that I've literally been knee deep in this website since the day I left. And I have to stop every day to go to radiation. So radiation is done though in 6 more sessions. It's not really around because you go there and it takes like 3 fucking seconds. Yeah, me hard-headed. Totally lost, Amber. If she would have bet me money, I would have been out. But yeah, so everything she said so far has been dead on. So I don't even know why I questioned it. Hey, Mac, I don't even know why I questioned her. Like, no, I'm going to find where she's wrong. She's not. She was 100% right. I'm just not. I'm still working on how to work it in. So yeah, so radiation is Monday to Friday, and it's been rough. Radiation is fine. Radiation takes 3 minutes, literally. But driving there is like 35 minutes. Driving home is like 35 minutes. Waiting is like 20. But radiation itself takes 3 minutes. I know, right? Marketing people do tend to know what they're talking about. I don't know. I just figured that maybe she's wrong because in my mind, I thought that I saw things differently. Oh, I absolutely listened because she told me, she's like, go try to find where you're right. Go to every single I'm not going to say it because too many people in this damn community have candle companies. So why should I give away my secrets? But she said to me, go look, prove to me, find 3 companies that don't do what I'm telling you. Okay. And I'm on a mission and I'm looking everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, she's right. So then I found one. Joe Malone is the only one that does it. And she told me, when your pictures look like Joe Malone, you can skip on what I'm telling you. All right, you're right. You got me there. But I couldn't believe she was right. Even like if it's just a little bit, they all have it. I was like, damn. So yeah, so now tomorrow I have to redo 60 fucking pictures again. But we'll get it right. But yeah, we're doing everything right this time. So, because then we're going to shop stores. but take it to the next level. I have like this big plan that I like have implemented in myself, and I knew that I needed to take some time away to focus and refocus. And like, hey Janessa, like honestly, I agree, Janessa. But like honestly, I didn't mean to come off so hard on Deetz's channel yesterday. Like I really didn't. It just kind of happened because I was so fed up with YouTube. And I don't know if anyone else is like me, but I'm just so fed up on fucking YouTube. Thank you, Chrissy. And all the hypocrisy and all the bullshit. It's just like, wow, when I enjoy watching the Galera, there's a problem. Like, no joke. When the Galera is like the only hypocritical person on the tubes anymore, I'll watch the Galera. I agree, Tinker. No, it's not only that, Tinker, but I don't need people copying me or stealing what's taking me so long to discover or hooking up with the right people, kind of, you know what I mean? So I'm waiting for a little more people to get here, then we'll get into, if anybody wants a link to discuss the Karen Reed trial, I'm totally okay with it. But is there anyone not watching it? It is probably the best trial, not even the best trial, the best defensive lawyer I have seen in a long time. Jackson is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Time out. Don't get too used to me yet. I don't know how often I'll be back. But this trial, I was like, I have to talk about this. I just have to talk about it. I know me and Sly Angel were talking about it today. If you are watching the trial and you think that Karen Reed is guilty, you're insane. Insane. The lies that are coming out of these people's mouths. But I think I figured it all out. I'm not joking either. I really think I figured it all out. I think I know what happened. Denise, are you watching the trial? There is no way that you still think she's guilty after the lies that are pouring out of these people's mouths. So let me tell you my theory. Okay? This is what I think happened. And if after I tell my theory, if you guys want a link, let me know. I'm all for it. I believe in my heart of hearts that this is how it went down. We learned today, or let me back up for a second. We learned today that Karen Reed and Brian Higgins had an emotional fling going. I guess it's the best way to put it. And because they had an emotional fling going, we also learned today that John Okeefe knew about it. Brian Higgins. Now, hold on. Everybody thinks that the Alberts are the ones that did it. No, they didn't. All they're doing is covering it up. Brian Higgins stated today they had all the text messages, which I'll be happy to show, but I want to give you guys my theory first and then show you the evidence to back it up. Brian Higgins revealed today that him and Karen Reed had this, thing going. He then also revealed that he had told John Okeefe to come to Brian's house. That was a red flag for me, okay? What I think happened, I 100% believe that Brian Higgins, I'm sorry, I skipped something. They also knew, John Okeefe knew about Higgins. And Karen Reed purposely wanted John O'Keefe to know that she was fucking around with Higgins. Let me tell you, it's the cringiest shit you've ever heard. These texts are cringe on both ends. I was like screaming at my TV. I mean, at my computer. But I firmly believe that but Violet, he said today, he absolutely said today that he contacted John and asked if he was on the way. He was on the way to the house. So it was like, whoa, really? Yeah, she wanted to make John jealous. So here's my theory. I'm not going to get caught up in chat, but here's my theory. When John O'Keefe got there, John O'Keefe saw Brian Higgins. John O'Keefe was drunk. John O'Keefe was also very pissed off that here is this other man going after his wife, going after his woman. John walks in the door. They start fighting. John calls him out like, dude, what the fuck you doing going after my wife for? I mean, going after my girl for? Brian said, dude, she came on to me, blah, 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 blah. Well, John O'Keefe said, no, she didn't, dude, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. A fight ensued. They had a fist fight. When you have a fist fight around certain dogs, Buko being one of them, when you have a fist fight around certain dogs, the dogs will attack. That's where the dog came into play. The dog attacked. So the two of them are fighting. The dog attacks. John gets kicked out of the house. They tell him to leave, whatever the situation may be. He leaves. Well, they don't realize how fucked up he is, or he hit his head coming out or something. And all of a sudden, John falls over. They don't know that John's sitting there. They don't know that John's there. The reason why I say that is John's phone was under him. I believe John may have been making a phone call. He may have tried to make a phone call saying, come get me, or a 911 or whoever he was calling. No, Karen, I don't think she ever went to Higgins' house. And then they find out that he died on the front lawn. This whole time, everybody's looking at Alberts. I don't think the Alberts had anything to do with it. Nor do I think he was dragged. Nor do I think he was placed there. I think he walked out. They had no idea how fucked up he was. I don't even mean drinking-wise. I mean physically. They may not have known how hard he was hit. Or when he got outside, he fell over and hit his head. And that's where the gash in the head came from. That's possible. So after today, I am 100% convinced Higgins is the one that had a fist fight with John. 100%. And John walked out. They had no idea how fucked up he was. Or maybe other people joined in just as a fuck you kind of thing. Where are the 3 pints of blood? I don't know. The dog jumped him. I do believe it's from the dog. The dog jumped him after they were fist fighting in the house. That's why. Well, that's true too. Why would Jen search how long to die in snow? Maybe they saw him and they were afraid, maybe? Yeah, the blood is in the basement because that's where they had a fight. Karen did not hit John at all. Even the FBI said that she didn't hit him. Yes, the Alberts had the whole floor tore out and moved and got rid of their phones. I mean, they're so blatantly guilty that it's sad. And the lies that they tell in court, oh my God. But I believe that him and Higgins had a fight over Karen. Karen had already left. They have this big fight. The dog gets involved, and sure enough, that's what happened. I think it's really kind of Occam's razor. The simplest answer is the one that usually is. But the way that, I mean, the way they're talking in trial, oh my God. And the judge, Bev, please retire because you're an embarrassment to judges everywhere. I've never heard a judge say to a lawyer so much, all right, move on. That's not your call, Your Honor. It's not your call to tell a lawyer when they're done speaking. No. Sorry. That's what a jury's for, to hear all the evidence. You can't like cut someone off unless the lawyers tell me I'm wrong. But I don't think that that's right. She shouldn't be able to just cut them off at free will. I thought it was fucked up. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, they definitely all had a heads up. Every single one of them had a heads up. They're cops. How could they not have a heads up? You know what I mean? They thought it would never go to trial. I think they thought they could scare Karen into submission. She had a plea deal and it would go all the way. Probably. Yeah, but can they do it every single question? I mean, she doesn't override anything. Everything is sustained, sustained, sustained. It's ridiculous. Auntie Bev was asked to recuse, and she refused. I know. Her brother represented one of the Alberts. See, I think the Alberts are guilty of covering up, but I think Higgins is the actual murderer. And then you find out today that Higgins went to the police station like all day. Was like hiding out. Why are you hiding out at the police station? That's exactly what my theory is, Demon. That's what I said. Is that I am 100% convinced that he went to the house to confront him. They confronted him. They had a fight ensued. They had a big fight. The dog got involved. And sure enough. Now, I don't know if you guys, anyone watches the Glera, but the Glera actually had on somebody, Tom something, who was at the courthouse during lunch, and Karen jumped on the phone. Like, you can hear her. She's like, oh, thank you guys. I love you guys too. Like, she was in good spirits. I think Glera like came right then and there. He's like, oh my God, Karen Reed said hi to me. No, he didn't say that, but I'm just picking on you, Glera. I want Glera to come over here so we can read these text messages in a dramatic reading, because I think that would be fun to do with him. But I don't think he's over here. Yeah, it was pretty funny though. Sly. He was like, she just talked to me. Tom, yeah, Tom CPU. He's looking at felony charges on them. I know, that was insane. Hold on, let me pull it up. Maybe if I stream Glare, I can get him to come over here. Like, he's too big for me now. He don't fuck with us little people. Hold on. I have so many damn windows open. All right. Karen's was assaulted upon missing during the time he entered when Karen's car was there. Oh, no shit. Hold on, let me close out this window. So the initial story was trying to blame it. Yeah, I never believed there was a snowplow. I always thought that was kind of silly. Jackson is a great attorney. Like, I'm not going to play the prosecution stuff because it's boring as hell, except the text messages. I'm closing out Windows so it doesn't like skip. Yep. All right. All right, I'm gonna play Glare stream because I know he won't strike me. Unlike Law and Crime, that might. All right. The only thing I'm gonna play from the prosecution is these stupid text messages. I mean, in my opinion, this is just the Irish police in Boston. They're all Irish. They all, are cool with each other. They're in their own little clique, kind of like Italian mobs are. Like, for real.
And did that become sort of a recurring theme in subsequent conversations that you had with Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Now, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 6 within that exhibit before you.
They're not numbered, right, Mr. Lally? They're not numbered.
I forgot Turtle Boy had the worst fucking sound ever. Hold on, let me find a different stream. It was so annoying. Hold on. And I just don't want to go with people that are narrating through the whole thing. Hold on. All right, hold on. Higgins is so guilty. So guilty. Who is that actor that I'm in love with? John Travolta?
I was there. She might have been in the other room.
And the defendant, Ms. Reed, was she there as well?
Not sure who's saying that.
Not sure who's hurting and who's saying haha.
Well, I know I was definitely hurting that morning, but I'm not sure who was saying that.
And what, if any, other communication is there later on in the same chain?
All right, I see, John. Was it necessary to introduce Hennessy XO? Was I really playing video games? That
20 a.m., is that correct? Is concerned is
Okay, here's the beginning of the text messages. Trust me when I tell you, they are cringe. Cringe.
the weed whacker. What, if any, meaning did that have to you or
so ultimately it was based off a interaction with the defendant, kind of a nickname that she adopted.
and how did that nickname sort of come to be, or what, if anything, transpired between the two of you that led to that?
So I was leaving, I believe, my residence one day in Canton, traveling down Pleasant Street. I saw the defendant along the side of the house on the Pleasant Street side using a weed whacker.
Yeah, but Johnny, here's the thing. You can say that he held his own. I don't believe he held his own. He lied out his asshole. And when you're dealing with somebody this experienced, he knows how to lie right out of his asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not impressed with his level of lying, and that's all he did.
And I gave kind of a beep of the horn, and the defendant gave me the finger. So I realized that she clearly must not have recognized me possibly because of what I was driving. I was in my work vehicle. So I spun the vehicle around, and as I pulled up to roll down the window, she said something to the effect, "Get the fuck away from me. My husband's a Boston cop." And then I rolled down the window more, and she clearly recognized me, who I was in that vehicle.
And did that become sort of a recurring theme in subsequent conversations that you had with Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Now, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 6 within that exhibit before you.
They're not numbered, right, Mr. Lally?
I'm sorry?
They're not numbered? Is your copy numbered?
No, Your Honor. Not that I can see.
Demon, you're watching the wrong people, because Jen absolutely did not own anything. She's another fucking total liar.
They're not, so be cognizant of that when you ask questions.
You know, I believe they are. That's why I hesitate. It's sort of in the middle of the page, facing sideways. Turn the page.
Oh, my apologies. I have it now. Very small.
So just on this page, directing your attention to the bottom, it sort of goes on to the next date of January 13th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And if I could direct your attention to page 7 of those text messages. And Ms. Gilman, if I could.
See, that's the one thing that I don't understand, criminal med. And I just don't have the patience to listen if the lawyers talk about it. But if these people have independent lawyers, shouldn't their independent lawyer be objecting stuff and not just the DA? Like, I don't know how that works. But I would think that his lawyer would be in there with him and not allow some of these questions. So I would love to speak to a Boston attorney about that and find out like how that works. Because that's one thing I'm like, they said he has a lawyer, but when does he speak? I don't get it.
We have page 7 on the screen. And sir, if you could read from page 7, and if you could just indicate who's speaking and what is being said in this communication.
So again, I'm in the blue bubbles. Did you try those Smirnoff screwdrivers? I stopped at the Hilly for one last night. I said, haha, how did you get my digits? Defendant responded, the Melissa and Lido show. I said, haha, I thought you creeped John's phone. I said, haha, again. Defendant responded, no way. I was the last person in Greater Canton who didn't have your number. I think even Kerry has it. I responded, what, with a bunch of question marks? I said, I just don't give my personal number out to anyone. How would Kerry have my number with a bunch of question mark? And the defendant responded, Melissa had it.
As far as in those communications, the reference the defendant makes to the Melissa and Lido show, do you know what that means?
The two individuals that I also know from the hillside.
And the Kerry person that she refers to, do you know who that is?
I believe that's Kerry Curran, Chris Curran's wife.
Now, if I could direct your attention to page 9. And Ms. Gilman, if I could have page 9.
Before he goes on to cringe read, let me just point this out that I think a lot of people forget. This could be any one of us, guys. This could absolutely be any one of us. She happens to have money and had a lot of publicity behind her. But at the end of the day, they all expected her to be put away. They all expect her to be found guilty. We're talking money, we're talking power, we're talking a lot of things, even a corrupt judge. So just remember, this could literally be any one of us being set up for something you did not do.
And again, sir, if you could read from page 9 as far as that conversation goes, it just indicates.
Yeah, the Hillside is like a local bar that they all, like all the cops hang out at, all the friends hang out there, like the friend group, probably the Irish group, but yeah, that's where they're all at.
Whom is speaking at different points.
Okay, so the defendant said, I'd prefer a weed whacker. I responded, that's the thing about nicknames. Defendant said, we were tossing around the idea of a short vacay.
I don't know how much she's paid for attorney so far, but her attorney came on Glara's phone, not on the phone, but he was like near Tim. And it seems that Turtle Boy or Glara or as a group, as a whole, raised almost $18,000. So that I did hear today. I don't know how much in total for the whole defense, but YouTube, you know, Turtle Boy section of YouTube raised $18,000. Should I Queen Bee do it?
With the current show, wanted to see if you were game. I responded, you don't have a say. And I believe I was referring to nicknames. And I said, vacation where? Defendant responded, I know. They need to happen organically. I'm the queen of nicknames. Was just going to rent a beach house in, I believe it was supposed to say Fort Lauderdale. It's abbreviated. Something quick and easy. I said, Defendant responded, I'm the queen of vacays too. Always a good time. I responded, I'm going to Nashville next month, 19 to 21st for a benefit. One of our guys got shot in the head. You guys should come.
Think about that for a second. One of our guys got shot in the head. Why don't you guys come hang out with us? Why don't you guys come celebrate with us? Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? He was $250,000 alone. I think Jackson worked out a deal for the rights to his story, but that's just my own speculation. Well, Jackson is amazing.
As far as either one of those trips that you were discussing, do you recall any further discussion or any going on any of those trips?
Well, I mean, I definitely went to Nashville for that benefit for one of my coworkers. There may have been more conversation about the Florida trip, but I can't specifically recall it.
Now, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 16, and Ms. Gilman, if I could have that. And this is on that same date of January 13th, is that correct?
Do you mean you don't think that he lied? Higgins lied? Higgins absolutely lied. There's a couple of places he lied.
I believe so. The date's not at the top here, but I believe it is.
And again, sir, if you could read from that page of communication as far as who was speaking and what was said.
So there's a photograph of somebody with a weed whacker. The defendant said, no, you're not a creep. I said, nope. She said, you're kind of a loner, which I used to be. I responded, no, not really. I have a ton of buddies, but I only let a handful of friends in that I'm tight with. So you think you got me figured out? And then I typed circle of trust in quotes.
And sir, if I could direct your attention to the next page, number 17. And it's coming, if I could have that. And again, sir, if you could read from page 17 as far as what is said and who is talking.
So the defendant said, yeah, I said loner, not loser. I assume you know a lot of people, PPL, people abbreviated. You never really can figure anyone out completely. Your dad died when you were young. And I responded, he died in March of 2020. I'm still not a loser. You won't figure me out. LOL. Defendant responded, no one is a loser. I just didn't mean loner to imply friendless. I'm sorry that's recent. It wasn't COVID, was it? I responded, cancer. Defendant responded, I know you date girls who don't lock the house behind them and you are private and observant. I'm sorry, what kind? I responded, long brain, kidney, and pelvis. How do you know all these things? LOL.
If I could turn your attention to the next page, page 18. And again, sir, if you could read from that.
In the blue bubbles is me. I said, you're funny. Defendant responded, yikes. Wow, that's rough. Jesus, I'm sorry. We chat a lot at the hillside. I responded, don't be sorry. Life is hard sometimes. I always figure it out. Then I said, who chats? ? Defendant responded, life is hard, but losing people is the hardest. So I'm sorry. We chat. I responded, that's all you got? We chat? Sure, you're from Brockton, spit it out. Defendant responded, you and I chatted about the girl who kept forgetting to lock the door. I said, oh, she has been out of play like for 3 months now. And then I believe it starts to say out of rotation, ?
And then, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 20. And again, sir, if you could read from that page.
I'm in the blue bubbles again. I said, I just got a Saturday invite. The defendant said, did you say yes? ? I said, not yet, with a bunch of periods, but did respond. Defendant said, what did you say, Mr. Elusive? I responded, no, I just don't want to intrude on your couple's night. Haha, I'm shy. The defendant responded, we prefer to hang out with non-couples. Bob Gallery is probably coming too, solo. We'll probably do cards or something at some point. I'm inviting you. And I said, haha.
Now, sir, is that the Saturday night that's being referenced there? Is that the same night that you had gone over to the home at some point for the Patriots game?
Yes.
And if I could direct your attention to the next page, page 21.
Yes.
And again, if you could read from that page.
The defendant said, John said Brian's being wishy-washy now, in quotes. I responded, haha, did you tell him you texted me? The defendant responded, no. And then I gave a thumbs up. Then I said, you cranky now, ? Defendant said, haha, no, just stop being so anti-couples. Most couples don't even like each other. I said, name a few. Defendant said, name a few? I don't know. All of them, ? They all want to hang out with single people. And then I said,
Thank you. Sir, if I could direct your attention to page 26. And sir, if I could ask you to read from that page.
In blue is going to be myself again. Foul ball. Defendant responded, you stink. I said, you suck and you're double trouble. Defendant responded, you're hot. I responded, are you serious or messing with me? Defendant responded, no, I'm serious. I responded, failing is mutual. Is that bad? How long have you thought that? Defendant responded, are you okay driving? You don't want to stay here. I responded back, I'm fine. I have an office at the PD. You didn't answer the question. And then it starts to say, defendant said, rather you stay here.
Like, this is so where this gets cringy. It's like, I understand what he's doing, and I understand he's, playing this just, carefully, but it gets cringier and cringier.
And is that, to your memory, when is that text exchange taking place? In reference to the night that you went over to the Okeefe.
I believe it was that night.
Now, why she reached out to you, how often was that question asked by you through the course of these text communications?
Well, the extent of the actual communication via text between the defendant and I was between January 12th and January 29th when John passed. On the 28th and 29th, the 28th, I sent a text, as we spoke about before when we were at the waterfall. That text didn't respond. There was a text sent by the defendant to me the next day. So in that time period between the 12th and the 29th, there was 9 days that the defendant and I exchanged text messages. With that being said, those text messages, I don't believe were every day, consecutive days. There was 9 days in between the 12th and the 29th.
And so as far as that questioning, as far as posing to her, why did she reach out to you? Was that something that you asked once or more than once?
Yeah, I asked it more than once, and during the pendency of this communication, I was basically trying to suss out what the intentions were of the defendant. Was the defendant interested in me? Was she at the end of her relationship with John? Was she trying to weaponize me against John and put me in the middle? There was numerous things that were going on, and that's what I was trying to vet out or suss out or whatever.
Here's my other opinion on him. There's two types of cops in this world. There's cops that have real life experience, that were total derelicts as kids and grew up and now decided, hey, Carolyn, now decided that they're going to, change and they're going to get on the right side of the law. Then there's the other side, the other kind of cops that never even got a speeding ticket before they turned, ever. They know nothing about real life. They grew up in wealthy homes and they decided, hey, let's become a cop one day. They have no real life experience. They have no experience with drugs or anything else, only what they read in textbooks. They don't have real life experience, street smart, nothing. That is the type of cop he is. He knows nothing about real life. He doesn't have good instincts. You can just tell even the way he's talking. He is clueless, absolutely clueless. He doesn't even get it.
Whatever you want to call it, but I was having a hard time accepting what was happening.
And sir, if I could direct you to the next page, page 28. And again, sir, if you could read from that page.
So I'm in the blue bubbles. Shoot straight with me. Defendant responded, I told you, I just think we're alike, right? Couple question marks. I responded, yes, agree. Now what? Defendant responded, I don't know. I said, shouldn't you know? Defendant responded, do you like me? I said, yes, from jump. Defendant said, when was jump? I said, first time I saw you. Defendant responded, when was that? I said, Hillside for your shore.
If I could direct your attention to the next page, 29. If I could ask you to read from that, sir.
So again, I'm in the blue bubbles. Hillside for sure. When were you interested? Defendant responded, I don't know, you're just my type. I responded, you think you can handle me? I thought you were happy, ? Defendant responded, how do you know if I'm happy? I said, I just assumed. Defendant responded, are you hard to handle? I may have put a ? Then I said, what do you like about me? Defendant responded, I just feel like you're from my neighborhood. I said, yes, yeah, ditto. Defendant responded, and I think you're hot.
And if I could direct your attention to the next page, page 30. If I could ask you to read from that, sir.
I'm in the blue bubbles again. You really think that? I have always thought that about you. Defendant responded, what? I responded that you're hot, smart, witty, but I didn't think you were interested. Defendant responded, witty? I responded, yeah, meaning quick with a response. Tell me why you got my number and reached out to me. Defendant responded, just thought we were the same / from the same neighborhood. I responded, are you afraid to say what's on your mind? What's in your mind? And then I said, on. Defendant responded, no, didn't I? No, didn't I? ?
And sir, if I could turn your attention, to the next page, 31, and ask you to read from that.
I'm glad I'm in the blue bubble.
See, but that's the thing. John knew something was going on. Hey, Lindsay, John knew it. He knew that. That's why I think when they got to the house, he confronted Higgins, and Higgins and him got into a big fight. And then the cover up began.
Again. I'm glad I stopped by. I should have come earlier. Do you really live in Mansfield? Defendant responded, yeah. I was basically begging you. I responded, you don't have to beg me. I meant to say beg. Defendant responded, huh? I said, I will give you what you want. How are you texting right now? And I said, leaving me hanging. Defendant responded, no. I typed kids and then kinda. Defendant responded, how am I texting? And I began to say, is everyone asleep?
As far as the communication from the defendant indicating, yeah, I was basically begging you, what did you take that to mean?
That she wanted me to come over?
And if I could turn your attention to the next page, 32. If I could ask you to read from that page as well.
So it starts off with the defendant saying, I just wide awake on my phone. Yes, they are. I said, I should have stayed, LOL. So now what? ? Defendant said, yes, you should have. I responded, that would have been distracting. So now what? So no, what? And then I said, now. Defendant said, now what? ? I responded, balls in your court. Defendant said, what do you want? I responded, loaded question. What do you want? ? Defendant responded, I asked you.
Hey, Kaz in the house. Yes, these are from today. And 20 months. Woo woo. These are from today. Demon, Karen said that she saw him go inside the side door. There's no other way to explain all the blood in the basement and his lies about the basement, which is coming up. !
I in turn said, nope, you initiated this.
If I could turn your attention to the next page, 33. If I could ask you to read from that, sir.
I said, spit it out. I'm in the blue bubbles. Defendant said, hey, we're single and we don't have kids. We can do whatever we want. I responded, don't you have a boyfriend? ? Defendant responded, where are you? ? I said, Canton. Defendant said, where? Question mark. I responded, my office is at the PD. Why? Are you going to Mansfield? Question mark. Defendant responded, where is that? I said, Canton PD. Defendant said, I have a house there from before I reconnected W. John. I responded, oh, I feel like you're not really saying what's on your mind.
If I could turn your attention to the next page, 34, and ask you to read from that, sir.
Defendant starts off and says, do you
See, what I'm curious about, though, is this Karen's text messages? Because if he got rid of his phone, why would he keep these messages? That's kind of shady in itself.
you like me? Question mark. I responded, yes, clearly. Defendant said, come over my house. I responded, when? Question mark. Defendant said, when works for you? I said, whoever, and then whenever, when works for you? Question mark. The defendant said, I asked you first. I responded, I think you're messing with me. Defendant said, I'm glad you came over tonight, with some type of face. I responded, me too, balls in your court. What do you want, Karen? You look great tonight.
If I could direct your attention to the next page, 35, and the last, or second to last blue bubble down the bottom, starting with, are you glad? Do you see that?
Page 35?
Yes.
And where is it again?
Second to last blue bubble, starting with, are you glad?
Yes. I said, I'm in the blue bubble. I said, are you glad you walked me out? Question mark.
And what did she respond?
Defendant said, yes, with like semicolon and some type of a mark there.
The DA is telling him to skip around. That's why it sounds like it's all over the place. The DA, I noticed that with the numbers, the DA is skipping. That's why it's not in chronological order.
Are you? Question mark. And I said, DEF for definitely.
And if I could direct your attention to the next page, 36. And if you could, please read from that.
So at the top, I'm in the blue bubbles. It says yes. And then I said, are you going home tonight or tomorrow AM? Defendant texted, we kissed, comma, right? Question mark. So then I put a question mark on her question and said, is this a trick question? Defendant said, I don't know when I'm going home. I'm selling my house, with what I think is a smiley face. What a trick question, and a couple of question marks. I responded, are you moving to Canton? I'm following your lead with this. Defendant responded, I live here, but I have property in Mfield. I'm guessing it's Medfield. Defendant said, why my lead? I don't want any responsibility. I responded, you started this, right? Question mark. Why did you get my number? And it says each out to me. It meant to say reach out to me. I then said, still have not told me.
And sir, if I could direct your attention to the next page, 37, and ask you to read from that.
Defendant said, sorry, should I not have? I responded, I'm fine with it. Just don't know why you can't answer. Defendant said, you're mad at me? I said, OMG, no, not at all. You're being silly. Defendant said, I told you, exclamation point. I just think you're like me and I'm attracted to you. And then she said, a lot. I responded, feeling is mutual. I just never saw this coming. Defendant said, why? Question mark. I responded, because I just assumed you were happy with your situation. Defendant responded, I was, but things have deteriorated.
And if I could direct your attention to the next page, 38, and ask you to read from that, sir.
I said, why? Question mark. How so? Question mark. What did Melissa say when you asked?
See, what I don't understand about them reading these text messages, this is like establishing motive. I don't get why they're establishing a motive here. And this isn't a motive for her. This is a motive for him. I mean, this is crazy.
asked for my number, question mark. Defendant responded, it is very, very complicated. He and I dated when we were kids, and then his sister died and everything got fucked up. I responded, he seems very into you. Defendant responded, I just told Melissa that I had your number but lost it. I said, that's cute. She wasn't suspicious, question mark. Defendant responded, no, she's great. I responded, does she know you like me, question mark. Defendant responded, she's a sweetie. We just agreed. You are great, with another smiley type face.
And sir, if I could direct your attention to page 40 and ask you to read from that.
Defendant said, yeah, but where is that? I have had all my shit here for a couple of years and my house has been vacant, but I'd like to get closer to the water. I responded, are you breaking up or staying together? Defendant responded, I don't know. He hooked up with another girl on vacation. I'm very close to his niece. It is a very fucked up situation. I responded, when was that and how did you find out he hooked up? Question mark. I don't want to complicate your situation. Defendant responded, we went away for New Year's, the four of us. I put the kids to bed and found him in the lobby of our hotel all over one of our friends. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I responded, it does matter.
Now, as far as that indication that she made to you, either through text communications or in person, did she indicate at any point in time where that occurred?
So there was an occasion that the defendant stopped at my house. And again, the conversation that took place at my house was in relation to, again, sussing out and trying to figure out if this was everything that I stated before. Like, was this legitimate? Was she seriously interested in me? Was she at the end of her relationship with John? And during that, there was touch on that topic, and I became to realize, it was my understanding at that point that this incident took place in Aruba on New Year's Eve, based off the text messages and the conversation at my residence.
This was something that
What I find crazy is, where's the guy code? He's supposedly your friend, and you're gonna fucking jump on his girl that quick? Like, really?
she brought up, not only in the text communications with you, but in person in communication with you as well.
Yes, I mean, outside of being over there for the game, there was only one time that the defendant and I ever interacted on a one-on-one basis.
If I could direct your attention to the next page, 41, and ask you to read from that.
So I'm in the blue bubbles and I said, did they bang? Question mark. The defendant responded, does that matter? Question mark. I said, sorry, I was just asking. I was just trying to figure shit out. Defendant responded, it doesn't really matter. I said, okay, I won't ask again. Defendant said, I don't care, with a smiley face. It doesn't matter. I said, I responded back, okay, hear you loud and clear, Karen. Defendant responded, okay. I responded, why are you getting your thing all twisted up over simple questions? Then I typed on. Defendant responded, I'm not. I am, question mark. I responded, you're kind of getting defensive. Defendant responded, not at all, with an exclamation point.
Thank you, sir. If I could direct your attention to page 46. Ask you to read from that.
Defendant is in gray. She said, we did kiss earlier, comma, no, with an exclamation point. I responded in blue bubble, I think you initiated that, no, question mark. Defendant said, yep. Do I owe you an apology, question mark. I said, OMG, no. Why are you being sensitive? Defendant responded, I'm not. I responded, kinda. There's a P and a FFT, never, responded by the defendant. What do you want from me, question mark. I responded, what's on the table, question mark. Defendant said, what do you want ideally, question mark. I responded, the real deal. Defendant responded, it doesn't exist.
Thank you, sir. I can direct your attention.
Okay, does anyone know who that is? He's pretty hot. I don't know who it is though. I stopped it on a wrong where he looks bad, but he's pretty cute.
To page 57, sir. And ask you to read from that.
I think he needs some consoling. I'd be happy to console him. I don't see a wedding ring on his finger. Hey, we both have bald heads together. We could rub each other's heads. That'll work.
It starts off in blue. I said, I can go to any base, but usually Hanscom and Bedford are down to the Cape. Defendant responded, which base down the Cape? Which branch? I said, Army's Army. Defendant said, I'm not abnormally sensitive. I responded, Joint Base Cape Cod. I won't be so hard on you. Defendant responded, OMG, you're not. You called me trouble. That makes me sound bad. I responded, I was just playing with you. Defendant responded, you weren't, but that's okay. I responded, stop being sensitive, please. Defendant responded, I'm not.
Now, sir, in reference, in that page of text communications, you made reference to a base down the Cape, is that right?
Yes.
And where is that in relation to where you live in Barnstable County?
So I could utilize one of the gates to get onto the base. I can get fuel. I can shop. I then can hit the Bourne Bridge, and I would use that as a cut through at the time when I was splitting my time between two different properties.
Is there also like a duty-free shop there?
There is, yes.
And at some point throughout the course of the text communications, did you offer to pick something up for the defendant from that shop?
I believe so.
If I could direct your attention to page 60. And ask you to read from that, sir.
Defendant said, I don't know, question mark. It's in old colonial. It has a lot of bedrooms with kind of an emoji. I responded, more than you clearly need. Are you moving to Canton, question mark. Defendant said, I know, seriously, some rooms I only go into dust, not anytime soon. I'm there most of the time, but sometimes it's a lot. I responded, a lot, why, question mark. Defendant respond. I then said, do you even know what you want, question mark, or who, question mark. Defendant responded, because I went from being solo to trying to give attention to kids who aren't mine, and I never wanted kids. I responded, I thought you were happy in this. I thought you were in this happy relationship. Defendant responded, everyone is happy at the hillside.
If I could direct your attention to the next page 61 and ask you to read from that.
So it starts off with the defendant. It said, everyone is happy at the hillside, exclamation point. I responded, oh God, you avoid things. Defendant responded, it's just very, very complicated dynamic with the four of us. He isn't cut out for what he's doing, and the kids present constant issues. I responded, I think he believes he is doing the right thing. Defendant responded, well, of course he is, but his heart isn't in it. It's only because he was very, very close to his sister. I responded back, I know how you feel, kinda. I was married, and when I met her, she had a 2.5-year-old. I went from being single to being a dad. It's hard. Then I said, I'm divorced since 2017 and have no kids.
If I could ask you to turn to the next page 62 and ask you to read from that, sir.
I said, I'm divorced since 2017 and I have no kids. Defendant responded, I try very hard, but they are very spoiled and they're not my family. My parents keep telling me I'd feel differently if they were mine or my own sisters. Then I told you he got drunk and sloppy on NYE while we were away, and that has really affected me. I responded, what did he exactly do, question mark. Defendant responded, I never got married, and now somehow I'm arguing someone about raising kids with an emoji. I responded, why don't you tell me, question mark. Defendant responded, he was a puddle all day and then disappeared. Then I found him all over our friend's sister in the lobby of our hotel, and she's gross, which I think may actually be worse, not sure. I responded, oh God, did they bang?
Now ask you to turn to the next page, sir, page 63, if you could read from that.
I'm in the blue. I said, did they bang, question mark. Defendant said, so I was the kids celebrating New Year's, I think it's without him, which shouldn't be my role. No, I doubt it. He was a mess. I said, was it the first time with her, or do you think there were others? Defendant responded, I don't really think there were others. I'm with him all the time. He never seems to want to go anywhere, without me. But honestly, the issues with the kids bother me more than him actually cheating. They are constant, and it feels like a lose-lose. I responded, you clearly have a lot of feelings swirling inside you. Defendant responded, yeah, it's very complicated. Sorry for the rant. I responded, or began to respond, you can vent, babe.
If I turn your attention to the next page, 64, ask you to read from that, sir.
Defendant said, basically, I just feel like I spread myself too thin and sometimes it's thankless. I responded, Defendant responded, you probably felt that way too. I responded, I did at times. It was one, not two, thankfully. Defendant responded, want to grab a drink, question mark. I responded, if you gave me some notice, I could have. Defendant responded, you in capital letters said you were adaptable. I responded, I am, but I have my work truck with me and not my personal. Do you get angry when you don't get your way? Defendant responded, that sounds like an excuse. I really get my way.
Now, as far as her invitation, is that something that occurred on one time or more than one time?
I believe it was more than one time.
And at any point in time, other than the two you've already recounted as far as going over to Mr. Okeefe's house for the football game or the defendant stopping by your apartment in West Roxbury, were there any other occasions you went out over the defendant's house or out with the defendant by yourself?
No, never.
And sir, if I could direct your attention to page 74, I have to read from that.
Defendant said, are you single, question mark. I responded, yes. Defendant said, I don't think it's out of left field. Wasn't I already begging you to come over last Saturday? Question mark, question mark. I responded, you getting my number from Melissa and reaching out to me? Question mark. Defendant said, and on vacay and probably a few other occasions. I responded, you didn't really beg. Defendant said, I asked at least twice. How do people usually reach out to each other? Question mark, question mark. I responded, why would I have thought you had any interest in me? Question mark. Usually do it when they do live with someone. And then I said, do not do it. Defendant responded, maybe, maybe not.
Thank you, sir. If I could direct you to page 77. And ask you to read from that, sir.
I said, I could go on and on, but I do not want to pump.
This right here is the motive that John went over there and confronted him about it. John was already pissed. This is motive, plain and simple.
It should say, your shit up too much. Defendant responded, thanks for saying that, but low comps at the hillside. I responded, you know how to ruin something nice. I frequent other places. The defendant responded, John has showed me about 5 times the ring video of me walking you out on Saturday, and my voice and my accent are killing me softly, with an emoji of somebody throwing up. I responded, what? Defendant responded, yeah, he has cameras everywhere, you cops, with another emoji. I responded, Jesus. Defendant said, he's like Christ. Are you guys hooking up? Question mark, question mark. And I said, OMG, great.
If I could turn your attention to the next page, 78, sir.
I responded, I don't need drama, dude. Defendant said, no, it's fine. I responded, seriously? Defendant said, I'm serious with an exclamation point. I said, you legit planted one on me. Defendant responded, I know where the cameras are anyway, duh. And then it was OMG Bruins with an emoji after that. I responded, so your slick move isn't on there with some question marks? Defendant responded, course not. I responded, oh my God. And then I said, I almost an emoji with somebody throwing up. Defendant responded, it was a peck anyway. I kissed Kerry and gay Jeff too. I responded, yeah, weak. I agree.
Now, as far as cameras at Mr. Okeefe's house, is that something that you were aware was there prior to that conversation with the defendant?
No, not that I recall.
If I could turn your attention to the next page, 79. Read from that, sir.
Defendant said, LOL, funny. I responded, so now he is jealous of me, question mark. Defendant said, no, with an exclamation. I told you, he likes you a lot. I said, which makes this worse, question mark. Defendant said, you said or did something at the bar last week, and he goes, I like Brian more and more. I responded, I think he's a good dude too. Defendant responded, yeah, he is. I responded, funny. What's your end game? What do you want from me? You will just confuse the shit out of yourself because I'm a lot of fun.
Now, sir, the he that you're referring to in those text communications, who was that, just for clarity?
John O'Keefe.
And if I could direct your attention to page 84. And ask you to read from that page, sir.
I said, it was fun. Defendant said, I've complimented you today too, with a couple of exclamation points and then some type of emoji. I said, and kicked my nuts in. Defendant said, OMG, how? I responded, if I had more notice, I would have grabbed a drink somewhere, so I'm all set with that's, and then I said, in quotations, that's fine, but I am not asking again. Defendant said, well, it was 7 p.m. and I'm super cool, so right now I'm asking again with some type of a, I think it's a smiley face. I responded, coming to your house would have been bad for the both of us. For starters, you wouldn't have wanted me to leave. The defendant responded, now equals not. That sounds good. I responded, that's trouble. Defendant said, why, question mark.
And if I could direct your attention to page 90. Ask you to read from that, sir.
9-0?
90, yes.
The defendant said, no, I'm busting your chops. It's okay.
Yeah, one thing I've learned through the days that I haven't watched the whole trial. I've only watched the days with the good people on panel, but they drive drunk a lot, like a whole lot. I can't believe how many times they say that, yeah, we were driving. I only drank about 8 beers, eight Jamesons, and then I went driving. Yeah, good job.
Hey, I responded, no, you are sensitive. Nice try. You don't think if I came over for a drink, we would have gotten carried away. Defendant said, you in capital letters said you were adaptable and tons of fun. I took that as an invite for an invite. And I responded, oh, okay. Defendant responded, I'm 42. I know what happens when you invite someone over for a drink. I responded, you're the master of avoidance. So you think I would just give it, I meant to say give it up. Defendant responded, I've been a lot in my life. I have a little bit of cop DM mindset, and then said, been through.
And if I could direct you to the next page, 91, sir.
Defendant said, what am I avoiding, question mark? I'm not afraid to be direct. I responded, some of my questions. Defendant responded, okay, which? Ask again. I said, nope, tricks are for kids. Defendant responded, I'm pretty sure we would have hooked up. I responded, okay. Defendant said, I can't say that, question mark? I said, of course you can. Defendant said, did I miss any other questions, sir, question mark? Probably, are you having a drink right now, question mark? Defendant said, yeah, on my second. I said, show me what you got.
And if I could direct your attention to page 99. And ask you to read from that, sir.
Defendant said, none of that is true, exclamation point. I'm not talking to other guys, and I have issues with John, and things are far from perfect. You just happen to know about him, BC, I guess, because we all hang out at the same bar. I'm sure you talk to other girls. That's what single people do. I'm not married, neither are you, neither is John. I responded, was that your attempt at a lecture or deductive reasoning, question mark? What do you want from me, question mark? Defendant said, that's just how I think / feel. You don't need to approve. I've already answered that last question a couple of times, I think. I responded, I'm not judging you, never have, never will. Defendant responded, you shouldn't. I don't know what your private life is about, nor is it my business.
Okay, this is where I think that she's a little psycho. Her line of questioning is weird. So either she's psycho or she's realizing that he's like a dumbass and she doesn't want to be with him. He isn't who she thought he would be.
Thank you, sir. If I can now direct you to page 102 and ask you to read from that.
Defendant said, my only, I'm assuming, point is that there's a difference between being married to someone and dating them, and we have no intention of ever getting married. The point of dating is not to get tied down. If you're not confident, you should be, in my mind anyway. The first two, but I don't care too much about the other girl. I responded, okay, so he is cool with you dating other people, question mark. Defendant responded, and I'm not happy per se, just realistic that there's cracks and it's far from perfect. I doubt it. If he's seeing someone else, I wouldn't want to know either way. He probably feels the same way, and you probably feel that way about whoever you hook up with. I think that's normal. I responded, okay. Defendant said, you don't agree with me, question mark, question mark.
If I could direct your attention to page 107. Ask you to read from that, sir.
Defendant said, at a bar, question mark. I responded, I wasn't suggesting anytime soon. I know you're with your friend. I meant my house. Probably after 8. Defendant said probably after 8. I responded, okay, if you don't wanna, that's fine, no pressure. Defendant responded, I will a drink. It looks like I tabbed the bubble with a question mark. I then said, what do you drink? Question mark. Are you out now? Question mark. Defendant responded, sorry, I'll drink whiskey if that's what you're having. I responded, haha, send me a pic of you two.
Now, you had testified earlier about some occasion prior to the 28th when the defendant had come over your house in West Roxbury, correct?
Yes.
In this case, that you just read, as well as some of these successive pages after that, is that sort of.
Okay, so that is the cringy ass text messages that you guys have heard about. I could play the whole rest of the trial, but I'm not. But I do want to skip to the end because I know a lot of people don't understand what everyone's talking about when they say about the federal charges. So I want to jump over to that so everyone understands what's going on. I know that was towards the end of the day.
I see it.
You've seen that document before, correct?
I think I've seen it maybe on a screen, not in my hand.
That was these were the records that were shown to you at a prior hearing?
Yes.
And you acknowledge that at least the one marked QQ is a record of your calls, correct?
It has my name, my telephone number, correct?
And it indicates that on January 29th, 2022, at 2:22 and 35 seconds, you received a call from Brian Albert, duration of 1 second, correct?
Yes.
In other words, Brian Albert called you at 2:22 and 35 seconds, but it looks like you missed the call, correct?
I see the 1 second call, yes.
Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, the lawyer that's talking is Jackson. That's her attorney. Much more exciting than the other way.
The second call just below that, on the same date at 2:22 and 52 seconds, from you to Brian Albert. Do you see that one?
Yes.
And the duration of that call is 22 seconds, correct?
I see that, yes.
So 17 seconds after you missed a call, according to these records, from Brian Albert, you called him back, and there was a call lasting 22 seconds.
Okay, I'm only going to throw this out there because I don't want to forget. There's a case I've been following, 2 cases actually. One of them is the Slurpee killer. Not the Slurpee killer, but the guy, the father who put drugs into his 12-year-old daughter's friends' slushies. Did you guys hear about this? Crazy. And then the other one was this 10-year-old boy that committed suicide due to bullying. Absolutely horrible. Those are really the only 2 cases I've been watching, besides this.
Is that right?
That's what the records say.
May I approach?
Yes.
So the fact is, you were speaking to Brian Albert in the middle of the night, approximately 3 hours before Mr. Okeefe's body was found in his yard, correct?
No, that's not correct.
And that was 5 minutes before 2:27 a.m. when there was a Google search for how long to die in cold, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Let me just tell you what I find interesting about these quote-unquote cops that are dumber than a box of rocks. What the defense is doing is lining them up. 77 people from the prosecution's witnesses are going on the defense's witness list. So everything that Jackson is throwing out now, he has the proof for. He's letting them know, I have the proof. But he can't show it now because he's on he's only cross-examining. He's saving all that proof, and the judge knows he has it because the judge isn't even stopping him from saying, oh, that's hearsay. Like, the judge and the prosecution already know he's got all the evidence. So anything that he puts out there, he's got in his back pocket that he will show. So I find it interesting that these cops are so stupid that they don't even realize that they think they could sit up here and lie and he's just throwing stuff out. Like, are you really this dumb? Because even I know that. And I know why he's not showing them now, but he's letting you know what he's got. And you're just so stupid. Smoothie. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. Smoothie.
And then, of course, you lied about that under oath in that prior proceeding by saying I don't remember this phone call.
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you in fact tell the truth at the prior proceeding when you said, I don't remember that phone call?
I always tell the truth.
Did you lie under oath, sir?
No, I did not.
Would you tell us if you did?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You acknowledge that there's a 22-second phone call in your phone records, correct?
That's what's reflected by the record.
And 22 seconds is quite an amount of time. Would you agree? As
It's 22 seconds.
a matter of fact, it's about this long, with the court's permission.
The court does not give permission. That argument, Mr. Jackson.
If we were to count off 22 seconds, that's an uncomfortably long time, is it not?
No,
It's long enough to have a conversation, isn't it?
I didn't have a conversation.
Is 22 seconds long enough to have a conversation?
No,
A human being can't have a conversation in 22 seconds?
sure they could. I don't think it's anything of substance.
Okay, so that's my question. Is it 22 seconds long enough to have a conversation?
I don't agree with it. No.
Now, when you were asked about this and you were shown these records, that prior hearing, you had an explanation for what that 22-second call may have been and what the prior call may have been, correct?
Yes.
What was your explanation?
Well, I used a phrase that people commonly use as a butt dial.
So you think it's possible that you may have butt dialed Brian Albert for a 22-second call that you're not aware of?
I think it's possible that he could have been inadvertently called back, but I have no recollection of that, nor did I have any conversation with anybody.
But you admitted that you lived alone, correct, Mr. Higgins?
That's correct.
You have an iPhone at the time.
Yes.
Matter of fact, that number for the reflecting those records is in fact, or was in fact, an iPhone. Is that right?
Yes.
You already indicated under oath that you don't sleep with your iPhone. You keep it on your bedside table. Is that right?
Most often, yes.
There's nobody else in your room. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you had your ringer on because you were awakened the next morning by a call from Chief Berkowitz, right?
Yes, the ringer was on.
When somebody calls you and you miss the call, there's a notification that shows up on that iPhone. Isn't that right?
I don't know how mine's set up at the time. I don't know.
If you open up your phone app and you go to recents, it shows all the missed calls, correct?
I think you can get to them, yes.
And you know that the iPhone does not automatically call people back. That is not a thing, right? You miss a call from someone, it's not just going to automatically re-ring them.
Yes, I think we both know that, yes.
So to call somebody back, you have to go on your iPhone, open it up from a locked position, navigate to a phone application, then navigate to a contact, and then make a call, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. You can break it down.
Sure. In order to call somebody back, if you've missed a call, you first have to unlock your iPhone.
You would have to, yes.
You can do that either through Face ID or through a 4 or 6-digit passcode, right?
Yes.
Don't tell me the code, but did you have a 4 or a 6-digit passcode locking your iPhone at the time?
I don't know if it was a digit code or a Face ID.
Well, if you have a Face ID, you have to have a digit code as well, right?
I guess so.
Okay. Did you open your phone with your Face ID or a multi-digit code?
I have no recollection of answering the phone or calling anybody back.
You also have to navigate, once the phone is unlocked, you have to navigate to the phone app, correct?
I don't know necessarily if you unlocked it with your face, if it would be right there. I've never thought about it.
Once you unlock that phone app, you have to manipulate the phone on the screen with your finger in order to make a call, correct?
You would have to hit at least one button, I guess.
At least one, right?
Yes.
So that's 3 or 4 interactions with the phone that have to be physically undertaken to just make one call, right?
But I didn't make any calls.
So how'd you butt dial?
I didn't make any calls. I have no recollection of any calls, nor did I speak with anybody.
After you were shown these phone records at that prior hearing, in that hearing at least, you finally admitted that you did in fact call Brian Albert back, but this time you claimed the two of you just sort of sat in silence. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I'm going to sustain it in that form. You can ask it appropriately, Mr. Jackson.
Did you ever previously testify that you did in fact make the call, but you did not have a conversation during the course of the call?
What I think I testified was something must have happened, but I didn't have any phone call.
Do you remember being asked, quote, did you call him back, end quote, and you answered yes. And then there was a question.
There was a series of questions there. That's only a fragment of what I said.
I'm not done yet, Mr. Higgins. Can you answer my question?
Yes.
Yeah, Marie, I was just reading about it. The problem is there's not much that I can do for it. You know what I mean? They ruled it a suicide. It's old. It's a couple of years already. We know it's from a corrupt police department, and one of the cops was the father of the kid. Like, there's no way to find anything out.
To the question, did you call him back? Your answer was yes, correct?
I think it was kind of, I must have.
Then you were asked, well, the answer was yes, and then there was a colloquy back and forth where you spoke over each other's words, right?
It was dialogue back and forth about this whole thing, yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
May I?
Yes.
You see the pink highlighted question and the pink highlighted answer.
Yes.
What's the question? Please read it for me.
Did you call him back?
What's the answer?
Yes.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
You then said a little bit further in that same conversation, I did not have a conversation, correct?
I did not have a conversation with anybody.
And the question following that was, you just listened to the phone, what someone was telling you? Answer, it's possible that the phone picked up on the other end and nobody said anything. And then I terminated the call, end quote. That's what you said at the other hearing under oath, correct? Yes or no?
Can I see it?
Sure. Ma'am?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland, same page.
Thank you.
The bottom portion in pink. If you could read that answer to yourself, please. You have that in mind, sir?
No, can I have a minute, please?
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Does that refresh your recollection about how you answered that question?
Yes.
And your answer was, it's possible that the phone picked up on the other end and nobody said anything. And then I terminated the call. That's the only thing.
Meaning it's possible it could have happened.
It's possible it could have happened that you had a 22-second call with Brian Albert,
I
correct?
did not have a 22-second call with Brian Albert. There was no conversation.
Nunya, I'm glad you're in here because I wanted to tell you, I heard you say on Deets that this is like your first trial. This is not normal. Trials put me to sleep and I hate watching them. But Jackson is such a good attorney that he just makes it great. And he's got liars on the stand. Like, this is not normal. I have not watched this banter in a court case in about 3 years. Of all the trials that's been on, they usually put me to sleep. So if this is the first trial you're watching, I can assure you most are not this good.
You've had some time to think about this 2:22 a.m. call, correct? Since that last testimony.
Some time to think about it?
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it, no.
So for over a year, you haven't even considered the fact that you were caught with a phone record lying about not having a conversation with Brian Albert at 2:22 in the morning.
Objection.
Mr. Higgins, what was so important that you and Brian Albert needed to discuss something at 2:22 in the morning?
There was no discussion. I never talked to Brian Albert.
Then why the 22-second phone call, sir?
Objection.
Sustained. I want to talk about what you did after you woke up on January 29th, 2022. That was obviously a memorable day in your mind, correct?
It was a sad day.
The very first person you spoke to after waking up was who?
Well, I believe I said I got the call from Chief Berkowitz.
That's my question.
Say that again?
Who's the first person you spoke to on the phone that morning when you woke up?
Brian Albert.
Whose idea was it for you to drive to Brian Albert's house that morning?
It was my idea.
Was it important to you to speak with Brian Albert in person rather than over text or phone call?
No, it was important to support the people that were there.
So of course you drove over to his house and had an opportunity to speak to him in person without any law enforcement presence, correct?
I was there with everybody, not just Brian Albert.
And Brian Albert was in the house and you were in the house, right?
That's correct.
So you had access to him and others without any law enforcement there. Is that right?
That's correct.
As soon as you got off the phone with Brian Albert that morning, who did you call? At 7:22 a.m. if you were.
I think I might have called Chief Berkowitz back.
So as soon as you got off the phone with Brian Albert, first thing in the morning, the next call
Isn't it amazing if you really listen of how many times they just don't remember? But when it comes to their own asses, oh, they remember every detail. Like the jury has to see that they're full of shit. If 12 people or 6 people, however many are on this jury, can't see how they're completely full of shit, I'm blown away. Hey, Sleuthy, I'm blown away. I don't know how anybody couldn't see it.
You made, Mr. Chief Berkowitz. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yes, because he had called me first. Yes, I called him back.
Did you request from Chief Berkowitz any information that he may have had concerning the investigation surrounding John Okeefe being found at 34 Fairview that morning?
No,
Were you trying to see how much law enforcement knew right away?
absolutely. I didn't even know what happened.
Were you trying to gather information about what happened so that you would know what happened?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Is that
No.
what you were trying to do?
No, Your Honor.
Did I pass the part where it goes, I never lie? Yeah, okay. The second you say that, because everybody lies at some point. So for you to say, I never lie, right there tells me that you're a fucking liar.
What did Chief Berkowitz tell you about his knowledge of John O'Keefe's body being found just after 6 a.m.?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had been with John O'Keefe and you were at the crime scene the night before?
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask that differently.
And throughout all the days that I've watched, I have yet to hear her say overruled. She'll say, I allow it, but she never says overruled. It's crazy to me. I've never seen a judge like this. She's like, move along. It's not your place to say move along.
Did you inform Chief Berkowitz that you had been with John O'Keefe the night before?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I believe I may have told him at some point that I saw John at the waterfall.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had been at 34 Fairview?
I believe I did.
Did you tell him that your vehicle was parked just feet away from where John's body was discovered?
No, because I didn't know where he was discovered.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you and Brian Albert had a call at 2:22 in the morning?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had been flirting with John O'Keefe's girlfriend in the weeks prior to his death?
No,
Did you ever tell Chief Berkowitz about the nature of your interest in Miss Reed?
no, I don't believe so.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had seen Mr. O'Keefe and Miss Reed the night before and that Miss Reed had ignored you?
Objection.
Sustained. You can break that down, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I may have just a moment. You indicated just a second ago that when I asked, did you tell Chief Berkowitz that your Jeep was parked just feet away from where John O'Keefe's body was found, you said, I had no idea where John O'Keefe's body was found, correct?
That's correct.
You had just spoken with Brian Albert, right?
He said in front of the house.
All he said was, John O'Keefe was found in front of the house. He didn't say right outside on my front lawn.
I believe he said he was found out in front of his house, unresponsive.
Okay. If he was out in front of his house, then you would know because your Jeep was also parked out in front of his house. Your Jeep would just be feet away from him, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had texted John O'Keefe to have him come over to 34 Fairview just hours before he was discovered dead in the yard?
No,
Did you think any of that was important when talking to the Chief of Police of the Canton Police Department?
I'll let him have it.
no,
Let me just say, you know what? I know, Tim. I'm just saying, though. But one thing I love about watching a trial on TV, as I've said from the Casey Anthony trial, when you are a witness or a defendant, they tell you do not make any facial expressions. You have to be as like plain as can be. And the jury can't see the little tiny eye movements that a TV catches. So when you see these defendants, when you're sitting in a jury box, you're not going to see these little expressions they make. But looking at it close up, like you can read everything this dude is thinking. Like you just can. You can just, cameras are in his face. You can see it. You can see when he's frustrated. You can see when he's lying. You can see when when he's about to lie, like you could just so see it. But when you're in a jury box, I don't think you could see that. So that's what I like about watching it close up.
I didn't. There was no reason to tell him.
You've been an investigator for some 15 years and you were a firefighter years before that, correct?
Yes.
You're very familiar with some of the tools that are used in conducting modern investigations, correct?
Yes.
You'd agree that searching electronic devices and phones is an incredibly important investigative tool that modern investigators use, correct?
Objection.
In that form, I'll sustain it.
Are you aware that searching electronic devices is an important part of investigations?
Objection.
Are you aware of that, sir? Do you agree with that?
I've utilized phone data during the course of my investigations at times, yes.
Okay, so another way to put that is obviously phone data and electronic data is an important part of investigation.
Objection.
Sustain.
What time do you believe you got to Brian Albert's house that morning after you received the phone calls or woke up? What time did you make your way back over to Brian Albert's house?
Maybe around 7:15 in that area.
Was there any law enforcement presence there when you arrived?
I can't recall specifically. There could have been one police car. I'm not positive.
Did any officer ever ask you to take a look at your vehicle?
At what time?
That time? Actually, at any time?
No, to my knowledge, nobody from law enforcement associated with the investigation had ever asked to take a look at my vehicle.
So they certainly didn't ask that day, correct? On the 20.
What I'm saying is, to my knowledge, nobody has ever asked me that.
Right. So that's my point. I'm just trying to break it down.
You want to tell me every instance when somebody could have asked me?
Correct.
Okay.
On the 29th, where you asked whether or not your vehicle could be searched.
Searched or inspected? What do you mean?
Either one.
Well, I would consider a search the inside of the vehicle more so than the outside. I would consider the outside more of an inspection. I would have been happy to show them it.
I'm sure you would have. I'm asking, did they ask?
No.
They didn't have to search it. They didn't have to inspect it.
No.
When you met with troopers, who was it that you met with on the 3rd of February?
Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan.
Did either Trooper Proctor or Trooper Buchanan ask to inspect your vehicle, otherwise search it?
Not to my recollection.
And to this day, nobody from Massachusetts State Police has ever indicated that they would inspect your vehicle.
No.
When you entered the house that morning, Brian Albert was there, Nicole Albert, Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, Brian Albert Jr., and Julie Albert were all there. I'm sorry, had Julie Albert gotten there yet?
She came after me.
Okay, so at some point, all the people that I just ticked off, they were all inside the house.
Brian Albert Jr., Nicole.
You can tell in his face, he's getting like antsy. He's swallowing a lot, which is a sign of lying. And you can tell he's not comfortable with this line of questioning at all.
Brian, Matt, and Jen.
You all discussed the incident together, correct?
I wouldn't describe it that way, no.
Did each of you discuss your own perspectives about what had happened the night before in the early morning hours?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
People were in shock at the table, trying to figure out what happened. The math didn't make sense. John and the defendant never showed up. People were in shock.
Trying to figure out what to say, right?
No,
And you were all talking within earshot of each other, right?
we were all there in the kitchen talking together.
That's the part I don't understand, because I could swear, correct me if I'm wrong, but I could swear that they saw Karen's car. They made a point to say they saw Karen's car. So how did they not know that they showed up when they talked about seeing Karen's car? Again, I could be wrong, but I thought I remember hearing this. Like way back when.
At this meeting, and these were friends and family, correct?
Excuse me?
These were friends and family amongst themselves, and you being a friend, these are friends and family inside that house discussing this incident, correct?
Yes.
So at this meeting, you actually instructed Jennifer McCabe to.
Okay, thank you, because I could have sworn they did. So that's what I'm saying. Jen and Matt both said they saw the car. So why is he sitting there saying that no, they didn't see the car? And I hope that he absolutely brings this up on cross, which I'm sure he will. But if I remember that, the jury's got to remember that. Yeah, but he's saying that nobody saw anything. That they were all like, how did this happen when nobody saw John at the house when Yeah, get your story straight because they did.
Call Canton PD and ask someone to come back.
Objection.
Sustained as to that form, you can ask it differently.
At some point, did an officer come back to re-interview Jen McCabe?
Yes,
Jen McCabe had told you that she had information about something that Ms. Reed had said, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Did she tell you that morning?
she didn't specifically tell me anything. She made a statement at the table to the group of people that, and she clearly seemed like she was in shock. She was upset. And she made a statement, something to the effect that Karen had opined that she had hit John.
What she actually said was, I hope I didn't hit him, correct?
Objection.
It's not what I heard. No,
That'll stand.
Who did you ever tell this to?
I've reported that.
That she said, I hit him?
Yes, I've reported it.
What you reported was
Yeah, Nunya, that I understand, but he's saying that they all sat around saying that, you know, how did this happen when he never showed up? So Slicky over here is acting like nobody saw their cars, nobody saw anything, and that they weren't here. They never showed up. Not that they didn't go in the house. So that's what I'm saying. Their stories are changing and they're not co-syncing with each other.
she said, Karen said, I hope I didn't hit him. And you said, oh, you need to tell Kenton PD that. Isn't that right?
No, I don't think that's what I said. No.
You're sure about that as you are about that 222?
Like a situation like that, he's got to know that Jackson has the proof of this. He's not going to just throw shit out there and hope it sticks. Like, you can tell he's got the proof. Like, dude, wisen up a little. You're sitting here lying like he's not going to slam me with this proof on cross. He absolutely is.
Call, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Mr. Higgins, what time did you leave Brian Albert's house?
It would have been, I believe, when Sergeant Lank arrived, and I think Lieutenant Gallagher might have been with him.
You weren't scheduled to work that Saturday, correct?
No,
Matter of fact, you weren't on duty at all.
no, I wasn't.
But you didn't go home and get some sleep or run errands. You went directly to Canton PD from 34 Fairview yet again, didn't you?
Who could sleep after somebody just was discovered like that?
Did you go home or did you?
I don't believe I did, no. I believe there might have been a stop at Canton PD before I went home.
As a matter of fact, you didn't just stop at Canton PD. You spent the entire day at Canton PD on the 29th, didn't you?
I don't know that I spent the entire day there, no.
Well, you've got a key card, right?
I do have a key card.
And that key card logs swipes.
That's correct.
So it logs where you go, access to, and access inside the
Yes.
Canton PD, correct?
Yes.
When you got to Canton PD, and you're telling this jury, you don't know how long you spent there.
I don't know how long I spent there. I don't know if I left and I came back. I don't recall.
So if the records indicate that you were there from 9 a.m.-ish, after 5,
I don't know how the records would indicate that.
I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
While you were at Canton PD, did you speak again to Brian Albert?
I don't remember.
While you were at Canton PD, did you speak again to Chief Berkowitz?
Most likely.
While you were at Canton PD, did you speak with Brian Albert's brother, Kevin Albert?
I don't believe so.
Gunner, may I approach this one? Yeah, this particular area, but I just want to see if you recognize it. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a 167-page document. Just take a glance. Obviously, don't read the whole thing. Just glance through it and tell me if you recognize what that is.
So it says Canton Police, all events logged by day.
So don't read it out loud, please.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Just,
no.
do you
Yes,
recognize
I do.
it?
Okay.
May I approach?
Yes.
This appears to be a log of key swipes in and around Canton PD, correct?
Yes.
And it's in reverse chronological order, in other words.
I didn't note that, but okay.
Okay. You acknowledge that that is a record of the key swipes that everybody uses moving in and around Canton PD, going through doors, every place that needs a a key swipe is logged.
I would assume that's what that is, yes.
It shows that you entered Canton PD for the first time on the 29th at 1:27 a.m. Does that sound about right? When you got there, you say to move your cars.
It's possible.
It shows that you were granted access to floor corridor 227. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
What about floor corridor 226 on the second floor?
Second floor would make sense because I went in the building and then to the second floor. Let me have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
By the way, did Brian ever mention what time the officers cleared the scene?
No.
Without telling me the substance of the conversation, did he tell you when he talked to you?
What actor does he look like? I can't think of his name, but he's like on the tip of my tongue. Hey, Sherry. He looks like an actor.
7:20 or?
Not that I recall, no.
That you remember by the time you got there, the scene had basically been cleared. There wasn't much of emergency vehicles, crime scene tape, nothing like that.
I didn't see fire trucks. I might have saw a cruiser. I can't be sure. I don't recall.
You're not sure about that either.
Sorry,
You're not sure about even seeing a cruiser, correct?
not 100%, no.
Certainly we're not contacted by a law enforcement officer who took your name and ID or anything like that.
No.
Parked and walked in the house.
Yes.
Like, I normally don't even like trials, and I'm watching this one for the second time, and it's still just as good. He doesn't look anything like Will Baldwin.
Your Honor, may I approach one more time?
Yes.
Same thing. I went down that document marked as next in order base pages. It represents base pages 2850 to 3016.
All right, so marked for identification. Is there an agreement this is coming in, Mr. Lally?
There is not, no.
All right, so that's marked for identification, not next in order.
Thank you, sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Higgins, if you will, I'm sorry, are we ready? Thank you. May I proceed?
Yes.
Mr. Higgins, if you'll look at base page 3015, which actually is in order, that's not reverse chronologically, it's the second to the last page.
I have it.
One quick second. And you take a look at the 8th entry from the bottom.
I see it.
Does that indicate that this all occurred on 129/22? This entry at least?
Well, I mean, I only, on that 8th entry, I see that's associated with my name. I don't know what the other ones are associated with.
Right. It would be other individuals in Kent.
This mofo is guilty. Guilty with a capital G.
PD. I mean, this is the entire log for 129, right?
Okay, but what all I'm saying is that just my name is next to that. I don't see any other names, so.
Right.
Okay.
So on 129/2022, I'm just trying to orient you. At 127 and 52 seconds.
I see
Access
it.
granted, Brian Higgins, rear entry to secure corridor, rear entry to secure corridor, correct?
Yes.
All right, so that appears to be what the log entry or the key swipe entry looks like when it's logged, correct?
Yes.
Well, this is how he's guilty. As I stated earlier, I'll give you guys a recap for those of you coming in. He had this emotional thing going on with Karen Reed. Karen and him, were flirty. They were talking just right before John's death. John found out. John thought that they were having an affair. John thought that she was cheating on him. They all get drunk. They're having a party at Albert's house. I have a feeling John confronted him. They had a fight. They had a big fight. John leaves the house, keels over, dies on the front lawn. and the cover up begins. That's how he's guilty.
If you look at page 2967, I'm sorry, I said it backwards, 2976.
I do have it all figured out. Don't even have to watch anymore. I know I'm right.
Okay.
Take a look at
You said
time.
2976?
That's Bates page 2976. That's the bottom right hand.
I see it, yes.
Look at the time entry for 9:23 and 39 seconds.
$923 and what?
39.
And that's on 20.
And let's not forget also the woman that went on, I think her name was Kennedy, the one that went on after McCabe, after Jen McCabe went on. She said that his eye was as big as a golf ball, not both eyes, just one eye. If you get hit by a car, your one eye is not going to be as big as a golf ball. That has stuck with me since I saw her testimony. No, but he also said that he said, "John, are you coming?" So I think they both lured him over. Kerry Roberts, thank you. I kept thinking Kennedy. I don't know why. Kerry Roberts said that his eye was as big as a golf ball and there was a gash on the back of his head. Well, you can get a gash on the back of your head maybe from falling. Maybe when he fell, if he was on his back, that's possible. But you don't get one eye as big as a golf ball from a car hit. It just doesn't happen. Oh, and the dog bites, that's when the dog attacked from two people fighting in the house. The dog got riled up, and that's what happened. Blunt force trauma happens to the back of the head. One eyeball being blown up like a golf ball doesn't happen from blunt force trauma. That would happen to both eyes. You would get both eyes would be black, not one.
2976?
Should be.
Give me the time again, please.
Why don't we do it this way? May I approach?
Yes.
This is an exact copy?
Yeah, this time's all over the place. My apologies.
That's
Okay,
fine.
all right, thank you.
At 9:23:39, I'm sorry, if you got that in mind?
I do, I see it. It's highlighted.
At 9:23:39, that shows that you were granted access to the Sally Port, to front entry to Sally Port, correct?
Yes,
There's only one Sally Port at Canton PD, correct?
yes, and there's a door on each side of the Sally Port. Yes,
Two bay doors, right?
two bay doors on each side,
And
yes.
then there's a
Pass through,
personal pass-through door as well.
yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I want to try to speed this up just a bit because it's small print, reverse chronological order. On page 2976, there's also an entry, same page, should be right above that, 92350, showing that you were granted access from booking to Sally Port as well, correct?
Okay, 2976, and what was the
Same
time?
page,
Yes,
it's about maybe 6 entries above, 6 entries up. You'll look for time 9:23 and 50 seconds.
I see. Yes,
All right, and that shows that you were granted access to the Sally Port and then from Sally Port to booking, correct?
says booking to Sally Port to booking.
Okay, so that's a key start. You were entering into the Sally Port, from booking or from booking into the Sally Port.
Yes,
Could you repeat the question?
Of course, of course.
Okay, from what I just read, yes, it's raccoon eyes. They turn black and blue. They do not swell up. One of them does not swell up unless you're hit in the eye. I just read it. Because I know they'll turn black and blue, but they won't turn, one won't blow up like a golf ball unless they were hit in the eye. I knew John knew about the texting because he said it in today's testimony. In the text messages between them, she said that the text message said that John showed the video over and over and over. And that John, said, are you guys having an affair? What's going on between you? So, yeah, John absolutely knew about it.
May I inquire, Your Honor?
Yes.
That indicate, I have no idea what the last question was. I'll see if I can make a new one up. At 9:23 and 50 seconds in the morning, you were granted access booking to Sallyport and Sallyport to booking, meaning swiped the key card in the door going from booking to Sallyport.
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to belabor this because we could get bogged down into it all day long. Would you have any quarrel if those logs indicated that you were moving in and around Canton PD at 9:28, 9:53, 9:53, 9:54, 9:54, 11:40, et cetera? We can look at every one of them if you want to.
Well,
Does it refresh your recollection?
it would not be uncommon for me to move around Canton PD at various times or dates,
Right.
middle of the night, during the day. But just because I swiped in somewhere and then you have a swipe at the end of the day doesn't mean I was there the whole day. I could have left, I could have come back, and I truly don't have a recollection, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't there all day.
Fair enough. If we moved from 11:40 to 11:44, 11:45, 11:47, 11:51, 11:52, and then jump to 2:05, would that be an explanation where you might have gone out for lunch, 11:52?
Could have.
Okay, come back. If
Yes.
there's a 2:05 and 56 entry, then obviously you're there, right?
If the card was swiped, I was there.
I mean, you're not giving that card to anybody else.
No, I'm not.
No way, right? Let's just look at 29:05 because I want you to be comfortable. Page 29:05, and let's look at that 2:05 and 56 entry.
She had no motive, but he still had motive. I agree with you, Demon. She had no motive. The text messages did nothing but hurt him. They certainly didn't hurt her.
I'm at 29:05. Where would you like me to look?
About right there. Basically middle of the page. May I approach? Yes, this might be a little easier. Highlight it for you.
I see it.
Okay, so that would indicate that you were back at Canton PD at least 2:05:56, and you were granted access Sallyport to front door, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay. At 3:10 p.m., you called Brian Albert's brother, Kevin Albert, correct?
I don't know. It's possible.
Okay. If,
I mean, I don't remember every phone call I made that day.
understood. Do you remember talking to Kevin Albert?
I don't.
So you don't remember what you discussed with him?
No.
Do you remember that it was a 12-minute phone call?
No, I don't remember having any phone call, but I'm sure it's possible that we spoke.
Do you remember Kevin Albert providing you any information about the ongoing investigation into John O'Keefe's death?
No.
Did you ask him about additional information concerning John O'Keefe's death?
No.
Were you providing details back to Brian Albert that you were receiving while at Canton PD?
Absolutely not. No.
Do you recall that 2 minutes after you cleared the call with Kevin Albert, you then called Brian Albert?
It's possible.
So I think the question was, do you remember? Do you remember that?
Your Honor.
Okay, I love when people show me stuff that proves that I'm right. Or that I'm not right, is what I meant. So someone just sent me a picture on Twitter of the comparison of an MMA fighter and John O'Keefe. The one thing I noticed, at least from this picture, that John O'Keefe doesn't have cuts on him. So his face, you don't see cuts. You see a lot of bruising, but you don't see blood. You don't see cuts, which tells me that his eyes really may have swollen up from that blunt force trauma to the head. which would alleviate my thought of that it's a fight. So he did have stuff falling from blood coming down from his eye, but I don't see any cuts on his face, which if there was a fight, he would have cuts on his face. So I don't see any cuts on his face. I just see a lot of bruising. I'm looking at his left eye. I can't see his right eye. I'm looking at his left eye. His left eye didn't have any cuts. No, don't get me wrong. She's innocent, 150%. But my theory that him and her had a fight, I mean, that Higgins might be off now that I'm looking at the picture. But I can't see the other eye. I got to look at the other eye. Hey, Yarn.
There was a lot of phone calls made that day. It was an upsetting day. I spoke to multiple people at multiple times. I don't have a recollection. I'm sorry.
Oh.
May I approach briefly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just to close this loop,
If she was guilty, all of these people wouldn't need to lie. And you can't forget that. If she is innocent, I mean, if she's so guilty, then these people don't need to sit up there and lie over and over and over. They just lie.
that appears to be your phone record, correct?
Yes,
And it appears that you made a call at 3:10 for 12 minutes with Kevin Albert, correct?
yes,
3:10 plus 12 is 3:22, correct?
yes,
You cleared the call about 3:22, is that right?
yes,
And then it shows a 3:24 phone call to Brian, Brian Albert then calls you at 3:24, correct?
yes.
And you two speak for 6 minutes, is that right?
6 minutes, 5 seconds, yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection that you made those calls?
Based on the record, yes.
Al, I know they're lying because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that they're full of shit. They've told lies that a 2-year-old could figure out.
Was that just a coincidence that you were talking to Brian Albert and Kevin Albert within minutes of one another?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot going on that day. People were upset. And I don't remember the phone calls. I don't deny making the phone calls. I just don't remember them.
Do you remember providing information that you were learning from Kevin Albert to Brian Albert?
Absolutely not.
And then may I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Same record. If you look just below those phone calls to Kevin Albert and Brian Albert, there's 2 additional.
Allie, are you blind? Like, seriously, are you blind? I can't with you. They all keep changing stories 1,000 times over. How do you not see it? Oh, I know, Sly. I'm watching it.
Phone calls that you had with Chief Berkowitz and then Brian Albert again, correct?
Yes,
Mr. Higgins, it looks an awful lot like you're gleaning information from Canton PD. Were you doing that?
Objection.
So I sustain the objection in that form. You can ask one part of that question.
Sure. Were you getting any information from Canton PD?
no, I wasn't.
Did you provide any information to Brian Albert
No, I did not.
based on any conversations or conduct at Canton PD?
No,
May I approach?
Yes.
But you were, in fact, on the phone with all of those interested parties throughout the day. You'll agree.
I was,
Answer that.
okay,
There's
yes,
no
Your Honor.
objection. You can answer it.
Yes, they're friends and I was on the phone with them, yes.
And sir, you were not on duty that day, correct?
No,
You are not a Canton police officer, correct?
that's correct.
You were not assigned to this investigation in any formal capacity, were you?
I was not.
As a matter of fact, you're a witness in a homicide investigation. That's your only role in this, correct?
That's correct, but they're still my friends,
And
yes.
yet you're still having conversations with Kevin Albert at Canton PD while you're at Canton PD, correct?
Not about this.
And you're having conversations with Chief Berkowitz of Canton PD while you're at Canton PD, correct?
I had conversations with them, but not about this,
And
no.
you're consistently through the day calling Brian Albert, aren't you?
I had conversations with Brian Albert. John was found on his lawn. Yes, of course I had phone conversations with him.
I want to take you back for a second to a couple of other entries, including one at 3:57, one at 3:58, and one at 4:07. I'm going to draw your attention to 2885 and 2886. Once you have the pages, I'll give you the times once again.
2885?
2885 and 2886. We'll start with 2886 and then work backward.
Okay.
First entry is at 3:57 and 54 seconds.
Al, do you not think that he's got the proof to back up everything that he's calling them out on? Nobody's being confused. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the truth. The truth is, these guys are lying out their ass. They keep changing their stories. They're lying about a lot of different things. Sorry, they're full of shit. And I'm sorry that you don't see it. I can't help you see something that you live in a different color world.
3:57 and 54 seconds, I see it.
Brian Higgins booking to Sallyport, correct?
It says Brian Higgins, communication to pedestrian Sallyport, communication to pedestrian Sallyport.
Look at the one just above it. That's 3:58:24. Look at 3:57:54. Or the one it probably is going to be just below it because it's reversed.
Yeah, and they just happen to delete their phones the day before they're told not to. What a coincidence. What an absolute coincidence.
You said 3:57:54, correct?
Correct.
That's what I just read.
But look at 6 entries below at 3:57:36.
3:57:36. I see it. Access granted, Brian Higgins. Booking to Sallyport, Sallyport to booking.
And there's one more on page 2885. Look for 4:07:47.
$407.47.
Correct.
I have it. Access granted, Brian Higgins. Booking to Sallyport, booking to Sallyport.
And there's no record in that document of you exiting, correct? That's just booking to Sallyport.
Yes. I don't, yeah, there's no record. I don't know if it records you going up. That's fine.
There's no record of it, correct?
Not that I can see here, no. I'm sorry.
And you're aware that that's about 90 minutes before Karen Reed's SUV was delivered to that Sallyport, correct?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You're aware that her car ended up in that Sallyport where you were at 5:36.
I'm aware her car ended up there, yes.
Are you aware that there was other evidence that was also being held in the Sallyport?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you see any other evidence in the Sallyport related to this case?
No.
Did you see a bag, grocery bag with 6 solo cups there?
Objection.
Did you see anything that seemed out of the ordinary there?
All I would do is use that as a cut through. Did not see anything.
Every time he lies and gets caught up, he looks down. I've been watching him. He does it every time.
Are you aware that at 5, well, let me ask you this. You and Chief Berkowitz were moving in and through, at least in some parts of the day, in and through Canton PD together, correct?
At some points we might have been together. I'm not, I mean, we weren't together all day.
Matter of fact, he was also in the Sally Port around the same time you were, correct?
I don't recall that, no.
The records would reflect that, right? The records that are in front of you?
Objection.
Sustained.
You were in the Sally,
That's right, Deets. I forgot about that. They're not changing their stories. All the law enforcement just didn't write it down correctly because they all said something that I guess they didn't say.
Port, the last time you're logged into the Sally Port, it's 4:07. Do you remember seeing Chief Berkowitz at the Sally Port at 4:14?
No, and if that says that I'm logged, that could be me cutting
So
through.
Higgins, all I'm asking you, I'm not asking you what you did. I'm asking you where you were.
I don't know where I was at that specific time.
Well, you walked into the Sally Port, you know that,
If I walked in, I
correct?
cutting through, yes.
Right. Was Chief Berkowitz in the Sally Port at 4:14?
Not that I recall, no.
Was he there at 4:30?
I don't remember ever seeing him in the Sally Port, no.
Was he there at 4:33?
I don't remember ever seeing Chief Berkowitz in the Sally Port.
At 4:50?
Objection.
Sustained. Let's move through this, please.
Like, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Do they not think that he's got the evidence to back this up? Do you not think that he's gonna slam you with all this proof during during when Brian Higgins is on, I won't say cross because this is cross, but when he's a defense witness? I don't understand how they all think that he doesn't have the proof of this. He's not just randomly giving out times. Like, he's gonna back this up. And the fact that he's just sitting there like lying about it is beyond my comprehension. Like, dude, he's telling you straight out that he's got the proof of this. Why are you ignoring that fact?
Finally, was he there at 5:36 and 37 seconds at the same time Karen Reed's vehicle was delivered?
I don't remember.
Only until that last moment when he realizes he's busted and he realizes that he's got the proof. Maybe I should just say I don't remember. It took him that long to catch on.
Do you remember Chief Berkowitz, or were you with Chief Berkowitz when he made a call to the front desk?
No, I don't remember anything like that, no.
Do you remember Chief Berkowitz calling the front desk at 5:42 and saying, shut the barracks?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you remember any kind of call shutting the barracks, meaning shutting the Sally Port?
Objection.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember anything like that, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
See, I'm telling you, notice he looks down every time he's lying. Every time.
You didn't leave Canton PD until close to 6 p.m., isn't that right?
I don't know what time I left.
Could have been 5:50, 6 o'clock?
I don't recall what time I left.
You're aware that there's video surveillance feeds in the Sally Port garage, correct?
That's correct, yes. Around the building.
Were you in the Sally Port at 5:36 when the car was delivered?
I don't have any recollection of that, no.
It's one thing to say I don't remember. It's another thing to say, no, I was not there.
I don't remember being there, no.
Is it possible that you could have been there when that car was delivered?
I don't believe I was, no.
You don't believe you were?
I don't believe I was, no.
You're aware that the video surveillance feed from the Sally Port garage at or around 5:36, the precise time when the car was delivered, is missing, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you receive a flurry of phone calls from Brian Albert and Chief Berkowitz indicating that some taillight pieces or a taillight piece had been recovered at 34 Fairview later that evening?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you receive a call at all, without telling me what the conversation consisted of, around 6:12 p.m. from Brian Albert?
I don't know what day you're referring to.
The 29th.
No, I don't remember any phone calls like that.
Do you remember 3 minutes later getting another call from Chief Berkowitz at 6:16 p.m.? It lasted about 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
No.
Did I approach?
Yes.
You look at the entries for 6:12, 6:16. See if that refreshes your recollection.
Are you referring to the,
6:12 and 6:16.
okay, I see those, yes.
There was a call at 6:12 that Brian Albert made to you for a duration of 1 minute and 7 seconds, correct?
Yes,
And right after that, there was a call from Chief Berkowitz to you at 6:16 that lasted 5 minutes and 15 seconds, correct?
yes,
That approach?
Yes.
They telling you that taillight pieces had been found at the location.
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach briefly?
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Sharon, Mass.
At what location?
Sorry?
What location?
Objection.
I'll see counsel very quickly at sidebar.
What does she want from sidebar? Yeah, the feds are going to be a big part of this case. And I wonder how all of them are going to feel, John's family is going to feel when they find out that she really is innocent. And I also don't think, and this is just a personal feeling, I don't think Jackson would have taken on this case for the rights if he did not have solid proof that she was innocent. Nobody's going to take, I mean, can you lose? Absolutely. But no lawyer's going to give it their all pro bono for someone that there's not solid proof that they're innocent. So I absolutely believe that they have evidence that she's innocent, and they believe she's innocent, or Jackson would never taken on the case. Yeah, but he didn't do it pro bono. Big difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, the interview was not at the police station.
It was not, no.
And Mark Aragos lost Scott Peterson. Doesn't mean he's not an amazing attorney.
By the time you interviewed with Trooper Proctor, you had already had numerous conversations with Brian Albert. Is that safe to say?
Well, the interview was with both Trooper Proctor, Sergeant Buchanan, and of course I've talked to Brian Albert because of what took place.
Higgins, that was a yes or no question.
Yeah, of course I've talked to him, yes.
Okay, the answer is yes, right? Can we agree?
The answer is yes.
Thank you. By the time you spoke with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan, you had already had numerous conversations with Chief Berkowitz, correct?
Yes,
You had already had numerous conversations with Kevin Albert.
yes,
You had already had this meeting with the Alberts and the McCabe's over at 34 Fairview. Is that right?
I went to the house.
And discussed this case, as you earlier described in your
I
testimony.
discussed what we were trying to figure out what happened.
You discussed this case, Mr. Higgins.
Well, at that point, it wasn't a case.
Okay, I'm not parsing words about what a case is versus a matter versus an issue. You understood my question, didn't you?
Yes,
Is there a reason you don't want to answer that question?
I don't have a problem.
Objection, Your Honor.
No, is there a reason or why don't you go ahead?
Well, I feel you're trying to make it sound like something it wasn't. It was,
I'm not trying to make it sound like anything, sir. I'm asking a question. Had you discussed this case or the issues surrounding this case with those folks?
I did discuss things when I went back to the house, yes.
And that was before you met with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan,
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
You had already spent an enormous amount of time at Canton PD. We've just gone through those records. Is that right?
I have been at Canton PD, yes.
And you had been able to talk to, you had access at least to all the officers, correct?
What do you mean by, can you
Anybody that was coming and going at Canton PD.
access for what purpose?
Just to walk by them, hear what they were saying, see what they were doing.
All right, in all fairness, I recant my statement because the only people that I've watched are him and McCabe.
Yeah, it's not what I was doing, no.
I'm not accusing you of doing anything. I'm saying you had access to the individuals within the Canton PD, correct?
To interact if needed, yes.
And very obviously, you had access to the Sally Port
And access, yes, and that's a cut through I used all the time.
and anything that was in it, correct?
I wouldn't need anything in it.
It was only after all that that Michael Proctor thought that you were worthy of a conversation.
Objection.
I'll rephrase it. It was only after all of that that you were interviewed by Michael Proctor and Trooper Buchanan, correct?
I wasn't interviewed to the following days. That's correct.
At some point on February 4th, Chief Berkowitz called you to personally inform you that he had personally found taillight at 34 Fairview. Is that right?
He did tell me that, yes.
And to be clear, that's the same Ken Berkowitz that you were with in the Sally Port.
I don't recall being in the Sally Port with him, no.
What did you do with that information when you learned from Chief Berkowitz that he personally saw a taillight piece as he drove by?
I didn't do anything with the information.
Did you call Brian Albert?
No, Brian Albert called me.
You were asked a specific question in the other proceeding in June of 2023, correct?
I don't know if it was the specific question. I was asked a series of questions on how the phone calls came in. That's what I was asked.
And your answer was, it's 100% probable.
Yes, and I watched his. I watched Brian Albert, him, and Jen, and they all lied.
That I told him about that, meaning I told Brian Albert about my conversation with Ken Berkowitz, correct?
It's possible.
Was that your statement or not?
It was my statement then, but I've thought about it, yes.
And you've changed your statement somehow?
I don't know if I changed my statement, but I think the way the phone calls came in is Brian Albert told me, you're not going to believe what was found on the front lawn. And then I believe Ken Berkowitz told me he found the taillight, and I'm referring to the taillight from the both of them. I didn't provide any information to anybody.
Well,
information was provided to me.
What you actually said was, it's 100% probable that I told him about that. Yes, 100%. I'm not hiding that fact, but you're asking me if I recollect specifically. I know I called him after.
Objection, Your Honor.
All right, so too many facts. Go slow.
Sure. You said, yes, 100%, correct?
In that testimony, I did, yes.
And then in that testimony, you went on to say, I'm not hiding that fact, but you're asking me if I recollect specifically, correct?
I don't have it in front of me. That's what you're telling me.
You went on to say, I know I called him after that phone call, correct?
I don't know.
And you went on to say, if that's when Chief Berkowitz told me, listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this, end quote. That was your statement.
Objection.
Prior hearing, correct?
So I'm going to strike the end.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
You said you don't recall that entire testimony, right?
Not that portion, but I know I was asked about how the phone calls came in and what was said.
Do you think it would refresh your recollection to see transcript?
Now, I don't know if this is a Boston thing, but every time I've watched a trial, when they strike it, they specifically tell the jury, ignore that comment or delete that comment, not just strike it. So I'm a little surprised that she's not directing the jury to be like, okay, strike that comment and, remove it from your brains or whatever. And she's not doing that. I find that a little weird.
Of your answer.
Is this it right here?
That's it.
I'm going to read it.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Does that refresh your recollection to what your testimony was under oath in June of 2023?
I do.
And you said, if that's what Chief Berkowitz told me, I didn't do anything wrong in this, correct?
That was the statement I made, yes.
Why did you say, listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this?
Objection.
Why'd you say that?
I felt they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain what was going on. And what I had said over that was, I believe what I said, something to the effect, I can't be 100% positive. And then when I went on to say, it's probable. But I felt like they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain how the phone calls came in. I've had time to reflect about it after that, since that testimony. And both that information about the taillight that was found was provided by each person. I didn't provide any information to anybody.
Next question.
Thank you. You said, look, I didn't do anything wrong in this because it looks like you and Ken Berkowitz were colluding to provide information to Brian Albert, correct?
Objection.
Is that correct?
Absolutely not correct. That's
And
wrong.
you knew that was going to look like collusion, which is why you said, look, I didn't do anything wrong in this.
Objection.
Objection sustained.
Mr. Higgins, if you wanted to get rid of, and you've dealt with cell phones and electronic devices in your career many, many times, correct?
Over my career, yes.
You've probably even written search warrants for them, things of that nature, right?
Yes.
If you wanted to destroy evidence on your cell phone, what kind of steps might you take to do that?
Objection.
If you wanted to just get rid of information on your cell phone that would be unrecoverable, what steps might you take?
Objection.
Do you know how to get rid of information on your cell phone?
Objection.
That's allowed. You can answer that.
Do I know how to get rid of information? I mean, I think there's different ways. You could wipe your phone.
Anything else?
You could wipe your phone.
Good.
Factory reset.
Factory reset might be one, wiping your phone, taking the SIM card out.
I don't know that the SIM card is going to take information that's on the phone out.
So that might be one avenue. You could break the SIM card in half or
It could,
snap it.
it could, yes.
You know, the SIM card stores an enormous amount of data that the phone's just a brick.
No, I don't know that.
Okay. You could also, if you take the SIM card out, just get rid of the phone somehow, right? Just destroy it.
Yes.
Might even consult with some kind of an expert to help learn how to permanently erase things from a phone, like a forensics expert, for instance.
Objection.
Sustained.
On Saturday, January 29th,
And let me just tell you, this right here is what makes Jackson such an amazing attorney.
you spent much of the morning rather, at Brian Albert's house, and then the rest of the day variously at Canton PD. You would agree with that, correct?
No, you said I spent much of the morning at Brian Albert's house?
Correct. In other words, you went over there at whatever it was, 7:50, 8 o'clock, something like that, and then until about 9 o'clock.
No, I got over there around 7 o'clock and I was there less than an hour. I wasn't there most of the day.
Okay.
I never went back there.
So you spent time at Brian Albert's house, then much of the rest of the day at Canton PD, correct?
Yes,
And then the very next day, that Sunday, you called a friend of yours, a guy named Matt Kelch, didn't you?
yeah, he's my best friend.
And
Yes.
he's a special agent with the FBI, isn't he?
No, he's not.
Was he then?
He's never been a special agent with FBI. He's a special agent with ATF.
My mistake. My mistake. I thought he was with the FBI. He's a federal special agent,
He's a coworker of mine. Yes.
which makes him a federal special agent, right?
An ATF agent. Yes.
And does he work for or have access to the Regional Computer Forensics Lab?
Yes, he works over there.
Okay, that's the FBI Regional Computer Forensics Lab, correct?
Yes.
That's how I got my mistake. I apologize.
Well, I just want to make sure the record's reflected correctly.
You and me both. So you reflected it correctly. So Matt Kelch is an ATF agent who works at the FBI Regional Computer Forensics Lab, correct?
Yes.
And he's an expert in digital forensics, is he not?
He has a level of expertise more than myself.
And
Yes.
he's one of your best friends.
He is my best friend.
You spoke to him about the death of John Okeefe, did you not?
Yes.
And you asked him for a personal favor, sort of off the books, correct?
Objection.
In that form, I'll sustain it.
Did you ask him for a personal favor?
No.
Did you ask him to show you or consult with you how to pull things off of your phone that you decide to get off your phone?
I asked him how I could pull text strings off my cellular telephone for the purpose of providing them to law enforcement.
This was not in connection with any case that he was working, correct?
That's correct.
It was not in connection with any case you were working, correct?
Objection.
Objection sustained, but you already answered. I'll strike that answer. Second question, you can answer. Is this in connection to any case you?
No, Your Honor.
Next question.
But you asked your friend to utilize his resources to teach you how to extract certain information off your phone? Is that what you did?
I asked him if it was possible to get this off, if there was a method to get this off my phone so I could provide it to law enforcement.
And that information was selected by you, correct?
Two particular text threads, yes.
Right. In other words, there was nobody else that was picking and choosing what to get off your phone. That was just you.
It was me, yes.
And the reason you did that, Mr. Higgins, is that you wanted to control and limit the amount of information that was pulled off your phone, right?
Objection.
Is that why you did it?
No, I did it because I wanted to provide it to law enforcement, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
But you could have just provided your phone to law enforcement and let them image the entire thing, correct?
I guess that was an option, yes.
And you knew that was an option at the time. And you're a trained ATF agent.
What's the question?
You knew it was an option to just hand your phone over. Just pick it up and give it to them.
And there was also an option to provide it to them as well.
Right. But you chose the one that you got to select the information, not the one where they would get everything, correct?
Objection.
Stand us to that form.
Did you actually go to the FBI Computer Forensics Lab?
Yes. Let me correct that. I didn't go to the lab itself. I went to a kiosk, what they refer to as a kiosk on the first floor over at FBI.
Okay.
And all local PDs, law enforcement have access to that.
And that's obviously,
It's an unrestricted area. You can be in there, as I understand it, unaccompanied if you're local law enforcement.
Slide, let me just tell you, I had to reread your comment like 5 times. I'm like, why is she calling Chrissy a piece of shit? I had to go look at the thread literally 5 times. Then I finally got it.
It's on the first floor.
That is a federal facility, however.
Yes, it is.
Did you utilize any computer or any data extraction machinery, if you will? A computer or something to extract this data?
Well, it was a machine. I don't know what it's called.
Okay, fair enough. I'll use the word machine. I don't know what it's called either. So you hooked that phone up to a machine, correct?
Yes,
And that machine belonged to the FBI. It didn't belong to you. Is that right?
that's correct.
So that was a federal resource, not for anything having to do with any official case that you were working. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I need to see your notices. So I need to see you.
He knows he's fucked right here. He's in deep shit and he knows it. Allegedly, Dees. Allegedly, they destroyed it the day before. Personally, I don't believe they destroyed it the day before. I believe that they destroyed it after. Yeah, I was told from a couple of different people that he took this on under the premise of no money up front, but that he has the rights to a story. And, you know, whatever money is brought in for him, but he's not he didn't say like, give me $100,000 up front. He is pretty much pro bono, with the exception of the rights to the story. That's what I was told.
While we're doing that, counsel, come on back. Yes.
Hi.
That's not me. They're on silent. Don't be blaming me. There's Fluffer. I bet you guys didn't miss Fluffer. Are you talking about his black eyes? What part? Which part? It was too quiet? Yeah, no, there's no sound. They're in sidebar.
One's to the left.
May I ask the advocate to?
Thank you. I was trying to figure out how we do
I don't
that.
know. Is that in reference to the keys ones? Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't think they're all lying. Just the ones that were at the house that are related.
We may as well use this time with me asking counsel a question at sidebar.
Oh my God, lady, you just had a break. See, I'd want to go up there. I'd want to know what they're saying. I wouldn't want to be sitting there all by myself. I'm like, no, I want to know. I actually think a defendant has a right to go up there. Because I've seen it happen. No, I did not. I don't like the DA. He bores me. He's like really boring. And I don't think he thought she would have such a great dream team. And I believe that they all thought this was going to be slam dunk. And that is not how it's turning out. And this is about to get good.
Counsel, why don't you come on over, please? Mr. Conley? If you just go and just stand next to your client, Mr. Jackson's going to make an offer of proof of a question he's about to ask your client, or a couple of questions he's about to ask your client. Doesn't make any sense to me that somebody has counsel and the counsel is not aware of a potential issue. So you'll hear the offer of proof. I'll let you speak to Mr. Higgins before this actually happens.
Okay, here's my other question. We have top-notch lawyers working here. These are not, we have cops on the stand. We have lawyers here. We have top-notch lawyers. We don't have like little pitty public defenders. Please tell me why the judge is pointing out what lawyer should be there and when. That's not her fucking job. That pissed me off this afternoon. Like, lady, that's not your job to decide that, well, now that he's going to be getting hard questions, so let's, his lawyer needs to be aware. That's not your fucking business. That's their job, not your job. I've never seen a judge butt in so much to somebody else's case. Like, lady, just be a judge. You're a mediator. That's all you are. You're not there to decide when, oh, now he gets to ask questions, so the lawyer should be in here. It's ridiculous.
Before the jury.
Could I just have him identify?
Yes, I was just going to ask you to identify yourself.
Sure, my name is William Connolly, spelled CONNNOLLY.
All right.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
The witness has indicated that he utilized federal resources for personal gain. The specifics of that testimony have been as follows. He indicated that he contacted Matt Kelch, a federal agent. He indicated that he utilized a federal facility. He called it an unsecure facility, but it's a federal facility notwithstanding. And that the two of them, he and Agent Kelch, utilized federal resources in the form of some kind of a machine, as the witness indicated, for his own personal gain, so that he could, as a witness, in no official capacity or in any official case, and in Matt Kelch's capacity as an individual rather than an agent, they both worked together to download certain information from the witness's phone in anticipation of turning that highly selected, highly curated information over to law enforcement so that he could later ultimately destroy his phone, which this witness in fact did.
Okay, so it's not entire. I disagree with you. I don't think it's reached that level. His testimony was that he went to a kiosk on the first floor where all local police departments can go. It's unrestricted. It's on the first floor. And we just got to the part about a machine in the kiosk when you mentioned an FBI resource. So what is your question? What questions do you intend to ask this witness now?
Whether he's aware that under 5 CFR 2635.702, it is a federal offense to use his public office, to use any public office for his own private gain or for the gain of persons or organizations with which you are associated personally. In other words, an FBI agent or an ATF agent cannot use federal resources for personal gain. The fact that he contacted an ATF agent, the fact that he utilized a facility that is owned by the federal government, run by the federal government, paid for by taxpayer dollars, and the fact that he used a machine that is owned by the federal government to download certain information for his own personal gain, that personal gain being, these are the curated texts that I'm going to turn over to law enforcement, that's a federal offense.
All right, so those questions are going to be asked. I don't know, there's been an objection to them. I'm not sure I'm going to let them in, but I wanted to give.
Like, I'm sorry, Bev, keep your fucking mouth shut. He's got an attorney there. This is not for a judge to be doing. Like, no. A judge should just sit there and mediate. But He's got an attorney there. Let his attorney do the talking. Like, this is like babysitting. She's like babysitting the attorneys.
Give you the opportunity to speak privately with your client in the bathroom there. Can you do it in short order? Do you
I
need
can,
more
I can
time?
do it in about 10 seconds.
Okay,
Sure.
all right.
If you feel the need.
So why don't you go back and talk to him? I'll stop bringing the jury or getting the jury lined up to come back, okay?
No, and I get that, Violet. What I'm saying is that all that has to be done is the lawyer should say, hey, I want to speak to my client in public. I mean, in private. I need some time with my client about how these are going to be answered. Not, she's like sitting there like, oh, do you need time with your client? Blah, blah, blah. Like, let the attorney do their job. That's what he's getting paid for. If the attorney doesn't know, oh, well, not your problem, judge. That's what I'm saying. I understand where she is, you know, doesn't want anything leaked. So she's telling Jackson, like, you know, watch your tone. I get that. But no, she's taking it to a whole nother level. And she's interrupting the lawyer
Thank you,
when
Your
they
Honor.
talk.
All right, so we're ready to proceed?
I am, Your Honor, thank you.
So let's bring the jurors in, please.
I love all your optimism, but it's going to take about 2 minutes to get here, so, yeah.
Why is his brother standing up? Hold on, standing.
Do you want these?
You see it for the session.
We have a very few minutes left, Mr. Jackson.
Understood. Mr. Higgins, you indicated that the phone was hooked up to some sort of machine at the FBI kiosk, correct?
Yes.
You're aware, sir, that under 5 CFR 2635.702, you may not use your public office for your own personal or private gain or for the gain of persons or organizations with which you are associated personally under pain of a federal offense, correct?
Objection.
No, Your Honor.
Are you aware that under 5 CFR 2634.704, it's a felony to quote?
Objection, Your Honor, as to reading.
Go ahead and finish the question.
For an employee, an employee has a duty to preserve and conserve government property and shall not use such property or allow its use for other than authorized purposes. Were you aware of that federal regulation?
That objection sustained.
Sir, notwithstanding those regulations,
That's what I'm saying. Nobody ever said objection. She just threw it in there.
you utilize the services of Matt Kelch as a friend and a colleague, but utilizing federal resources to pull information off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Sustained as to that form.
In fact, you were successful in getting information off your phone, which is the text that you turn over to the Commonwealth, correct?
Objection.
In that form, you're almost there, Mr. Jackson. That form was improper.
The information that was ultimately pulled off your phone was the information that you selected and you and Matt Kelch worked together to get off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor, if I could explain.
Sure.
He walked me through on how I could pull the text string with John Okeefe and the defendant. He walked me through the process, how to use the machine.
And then you did that.
I did do that. That's
And that's
correct.
what you turned over to the police.
That's correct.
And any other information would still be on your phone ending in 5421, correct?
Well, that information stayed on my phone. I just took those strings off and provided them to the Mass State
Right,
Police.
so where's your phone?
I do not have that phone anymore.
You destroyed that phone, haven't you?
No, I threw the phone away.
Well, that's destroying the phone, isn't it?
I had every right to do that.
I didn't ask you about your rights.
When I threw it away, if I was going to take it out, I would break it or cut it. But I did not wipe the phone. I did not take anything else off it. But if I was going to throw the phone away, that's what I would have done.
Okay,
You know, as an ATF agent with electronic data experience, when you pull the SIM card out and break it, and then throw the phone away and the SIM card away, you don't need to wipe the phone.
Objection.
sustained.
Mr. Jackson,
Jackson, that's it.
Your Honor,
One more question.
I can do this in 30 seconds. I think. You were aware that that there was a court order that you not alter, delete, or destroy, or in any way manipulate your phone or the electronic data associated with it, correct?
Objection.
As to what date?
As of September 23rd, I'm sorry, September 30th, 2022.
Objection.
Okay.
I don't believe that's what the court order was. I think it's
Your Honor, I
mis-
can make a quick offer of proof. That's exactly what it was that he was notified.
Were you aware of that? Was that your understanding?
What's the question exactly, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
That's the question again.
Sure. Were you served with a copy of a
For some reason, I think they think memory card, but 2022 memory cards are already no longer a thing in iPhones. So I don't even understand what the hell they're talking about, unless he's trying to catch him in a total lie.
notice on September 30th, 2022, that
Yeah, but all SIM cards hold are your phone number and other people's phone numbers. I don't even think it does that. I think it's just your network. It's SIM cards are not what they used to be back in 2000.
you not alter or destroy or manipulate anything on your phone on September 30th.
I was served an order. Yes, that's correct.
And isn't it true, in another hearing, you explained that on September 29th, the day before you claimed you got that notice, you changed phone carriers and changed phone numbers
And I maintained the phone.
until you didn't, when you destroyed it a month later by pulling the SIM card out and throwing it away, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that in October? Did you destroy that phone?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone, Mr. Higgins? Did you?
It's possible that I did. I believe that's how I've testified. Yes.
You testified.
It's possible that if I took it out, that it was either cut or broken.
It's not just possible.
So that,
And that would have been after the date the order was already denied.
Mr. Higgins, I have one question left. One question. Did you, Mr. Lally already standing. I haven't even started.
have a seat, Mr. Lally. Go ahead. Last question, Mr. Jackson.
Quiet, please, quiet.
Mr. Higgins, very simply, and then we're done. Did you remove the SIM card for that phone, drive onto a military base, throw the SIM card in one dumpster and the phone in a different dumpster?
That is not correct.
Did you testify
That
that?
was your one question, Mr. Jackson. All right, folks, that's it for today.
That's another one. You don't think he's got proof of that? You think he just randomly pulled that out of his ass? He's got proof to back it up. He's saving it. So that's why I don't get why they don't get that. He's dumb. But I'm not going to go back, but there was a part that he had gone after him and he said something funny. And I forgot what it was, but he annihilated him. He really did. He absolutely annihilated him. But I can't stand this judge. She should be off this trial immediately. But I have a feeling I'm going to stream Tuesday morning because he goes back on the stand and I think it's going to be phenomenal. Does anyone want to take a link and talk about it? Speak now, forever hold your peace, and I'm going back to a website. Oh my God, it's 12:30? I've been on 3 hours. Damn. I have to go back and get that link another time. I didn't realize I've been on 3 hours already. But Karen Reed is 100% innocent. I don't know how people can't see that. And I'm sorry if you can't see how these three are lying. See, I don't know. I thought that absolutely, Tim. I would hate her. I don't know. I was told from T-Mobile, the only thing my SIM card does is make my network work. That's it. It doesn't do like anything other than that. She's 250% innocent. You'll see, Elle. But have you guys heard? I'm gonna maybe tomorrow, although I didn't want to get back going online every day, but maybe tomorrow I'll cover this other case. It is so heartbreaking, guys. A 10-year-old boy killed himself. 10 years old because of bullying. Because he had fucked up teeth or fucked up, like, I don't know, they're blaming the parents because like they didn't get his teeth set up, his teeth fixed. He was 10. This little boy was 10 years old and unalived himself. Can you imagine? My heart breaks for this kid. Absolutely breaks for this kid. His family, so sad. We're still raising funds for our Laura Isms dictionary. I'm telling you. Yeah, he's totally innocent. Yeah, let me see if I can find it real quick. But Nancy Grace did a fantastic interview with the father, and I wanted to play it. Oh. Oh, shush. Fourth grade. Fourth grade. This story has had my heart since the first day I saw it.
Dead. His parents say he took his own life. In the town of Greenfield, east of Indianapolis, a fourth grader is dead. His parents say he took his own life because of relentless bullying.
Earlier in our 5 o'clock hour, you heard from the little boy's parents. Now hear from his grandmother, who lives in Huntington. 21 Alive reporter Amelia Miles is live now in studio with more.
Yeah, Heather and Linda, this is 10-year-old Sammy Toish. His family says he was spontaneous and had a bright smile that was hard to miss. But on May 5th, that all went away. Sammy Toish, a 10-year-old boy who lived in Greenfield.
I don't know, he's just as pure as snow.
Cynthia is Sammy's grandmother. She says she received a text to call her son right away.
He was distraught and he told me Sammy was gone. And I'm like speechless.
His family said Sammy died by suicide Sunday morning on May 5th. According to Sammy's family, he was being bullied up until the night before he died. They say it started last year in elementary school and continued this year at Greenfield Intermediate School.
People trust their kids. They entrust their kids to the schools. But now that trust is breaking down.
What started as words, his family says, eventually turned physical. Toish tells me her son talked with the school more than 20 times about the bullying.
That they can't just say they have zero tolerance, because that doesn't mean they're zero tolerance about bullies. Their zero tolerance means that they don't have any responsibility for it.
Greenfield Superintendent Dr. Harold Olin sent a statement saying there was no bullying report ever submitted by the parents or the student. But he also said the school's administrators and counselor had regular conversations with the family throughout the year, but he wouldn't share the content of those conversations.
Really close to it.
Can you imagine a fourth grader? I still can't get over this. Fourth grade. Like, your teeth aren't even grown in yet, kid. You know, like, it's horrible. I can't. Every time I like have to watch this, I get tears in my eyes. I just can't comprehend it. Fourth grade. You're still a baby.
His mom.
As Sammy's family prepares for his funeral, His grandma has one last thing to say.
I just always told him, I said, Grandpa, and I love you so much. Mother was really distraught, and my heart goes out to her and all mothers who've lost a child.
Now, the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. If you or someone you know needs help, we included a list of resources in this story on our website. That's 21alivenews.com.
See, in all my research on it, I have not found out how he did it. And the father said something about that he went to go wake him up and he was gone. So I'm not sure how he did it, but I just couldn't even imagine. 4th grade. Another one, 13-year-old in Indiana dies by suicide. That just happened in March. Another Milwaukee. It's crazy. It's insane. I just can't, like, please talk to your children. Tell them that whatever they're going through doesn't mean anything. Because it's going to get better as they get older. Just don't go on YouTube. Don't start a YouTube channel. It won't get better. I just couldn't even imagine. I saw the story and I was like hooked on it. I was like, oh my God. What's this? Oh, it's from a long time ago. 7-year-old Texas boy found unalive in foster parents. Child recent was left suicidal due to children teasing him. That's crazy. Yeah, schools do nothing. There's just so, and that's another thing, like, now that I was away, like, there's so much true crime out there, and everyone's just stuck on the Sebastian case that has no news at all. There's stuff going on with TikTok and other social media. It's sending subliminal messages to the kids, and it's even affected my own daughter. They send friends to them on the game sites. Really? Even when you're trans, New York, they won't do anything. It's crazy. And then you have the father who should go to jail for life, who poisoned his daughter's friend's drinks. I mean, the world is falling apart. Thank God I won't be around long enough to see it. That's just the way it is. So, all right, I'm going to get off though. Because, and Kohlberger's hearing, it was boring. I watched it. It was boring as hell. Single friend group. Yeah, my son was bullied for a while. Oh, I got gifted membership. Oh, you mean I should gift them? Well, nobody else is gifting any. Hold on, but you're right, Crystal. Hold on. I gotta go to YouTube. Good call, Crystal. I am not gonna be here longer. I'm gonna be dead. Right, Fluffer? Me and you. YouTube. I am gonna gift. I thought you meant I got some. But that's a good call because the month is ending and I haven't sent out. How do you gift them? You have to go on YouTube to like your channel. And then like you're doing a super chat. Membership gifting. You have 10 memberships to set this month. Thanks, Carolyn. And I'm going to send 5. Woo woo. That's 15 new members. Woo woo. Now, shut it, Edith. Never. Never, never, never. Is it showing? I didn't mean send all 10. Oh, no, I didn't send 10. Why is it showing 10? Yeah, you can't do it from StreamYards or from, or from the studio. You just have to go to like your regular channel. Yeah, they changed the iPhone thing, I think, Maria. I don't think, because I went to a channel and I was able to do a membership. Oh, you know where it was? It was the Glera. I was able to send a super chat, I think, from my iPhone. So hopefully Danny C didn't get one. But Crystal was right. She said to me before I left, she's like, you should have given away your memberships beforehand. I said, you know what? I totally forgot. I was like, I'll be live by the end of the month. So we got 5 more to give away because we get 10 to give away. All right. I've been on over 3 hours, which is the first time back in a while. What has it been, like 2 weeks? Ouch. But as soon as the website's finished, I'm doing a grand reopening and lots of candles. I hope you guys missed me because I missed you guys. I really did. I don't miss the bullshit, but, you know, here's the bottom line. And I said this on Deeds, I just didn't get it across well enough. But, thanks, Tony. MO3G, I didn't even think he was still around. But here's the thing. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. I got thrown off. Oh my God, I totally just got thrown off. What was I just going to say? Oh, something I've spoke to Patreons about. I know I spoke to Crystal about, Sly Angel, Carolyn. You know, one of the things that got me thinking, I could sit here and be like every other creator and just bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch. But the bottom line is be the change you want to see. So instead of sitting here bitching about what everyone else is doing, I'm just going to be the change. I'm going to do what I want to do, what I set out to do, and I'm not going to let all the petty bullshit get to me. So, and I'm not going to bitch about what someone else is doing because why? You have to be the change you want to see. Plain and simple. So that's where I'm at. Hey, sweet one. Thank you. But seriously, that's a lot of what I've learned over the last 2 weeks. Even yesterday from when I went on Deets hot-headed. But that's really where my head's at. That you just got to be the change. And bitching and bitching and bitching is pointless. It's just not going to get anywhere. Of course you do, Crystal. Exactly 100%. What I did, I just walked away from all the pediatric. It's ridiculous. It is. And everyone just keeps jumping on a bandwagon, and it's crazy. Thanks, Demon. I know some people understood what I was trying to say. I was just heated. I was aggravated. I was fed up. But I didn't mean to go on hot-headed. Deets knows that. But it just, you know, it gets to you after a while. And I just don't get it. Why can't we all just get along? But radiation makes you tired. I didn't realize it would make me tired. Yeah, I heard the lawsuit got denied. Did he try to end it and it got denied? Thank you, sweet one. I hope I'm still loved. I knew I couldn't wait too long. Yeah, I was on Deets yesterday. I came in hot. I did come in hot. I was pissed. But I wasn't yelling at anyone. I can't stand hypocrisy, especially around this community. It's too much. And I'm still waiting for proof I never got, which I knew I was never going to get. Yeah, I was on Deets 8-hour live yesterday. You were just confused because you were saying, well, yeah, but I didn't know that. I came on there saying I didn't know that. And then I heard someone in your chat, Deets, was like, oh, you always skate around when Laura comes on. No, you don't. Like, if you have something to say to me, you'll tell me straight up. Nobody skates around. I'm not fucking yelling at anyone. I'm just also a very passionate person, and I get passionate about stuff. It's not that I'm yelling. I just get passionate. But people mistake it as yelling. But some of it is just saying bullshit over and over and over. Yeah, I couldn't believe when I went to bed, I think she was still on. I was like, damn, Deets is still on? Shit. I was like, that's crazy. From what I got, your point was that it's not wrong to point out misinformation, show the corrective facts, but just streaming somebody else's entire live streams to point that out to defeat the pain. The purpose, absolutely. And I also didn't want to say names, and I didn't mean to say Deets. Like, I was on a rant at that point, but you have some of these people that, oh, we're tragedy pimps and we're this and we're that, but they're doing the exact same thing. So how are you going to call someone else a tragedy pimp when you're doing the exact same thing? And pointing stuff out, or not for nothing, but nonsense saying she's not true crime. Yeah, you are. You may not want to admit it, but you're true crime. Or case discussion or whatever. She knows more about Sebastian's case than most of the creators covering it. Like, for real. That's true crime. Just own it. That's true. That is true. If I could fake a sweet voice, many would take what she says in a better light. That is true. You drinking donuts, voice? Oh, Tony, you finished the house? Yay! Now I got to send you a candle. Oh, Yarn, did you see the paint can candles? They're done. I finally got a label I'm happy with. Where'd it go? Here's the paint can candles. For those of you that missed it. Ta-da! They came out good, right? Took me forever to come up with a label. But I'm happy with them. And I don't know why the picture showed them as being the same color, because they're not. This one's darker. Well, I guess you could see a little different, but. That's how I'm going to feel about the website. Aren't they cute? I'm happy with them. And they burn really good. They'll be on the web. I said they'd be on the website today, but they'll be on the website tomorrow. Because there's so much to do. Jeez. It's not done yet. The new website's not done, but it's getting there. I've been working really fucking hard on it for days. Like 15 hours a day. It's all I've done. So we're getting there. But I have to redo all the pictures. Except the pictures I don't have to do are the big ones. But my product pictures I have to redo yet again. I don't have to redo my pink can though. I just got to label them. Aren't they cute? I'm very happy with them. And they work perfectly on the pink can. I agree, Marie. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. So, all right. I'm going to get off for real, though. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm hot. I got to get some sleep. And hopefully I'll get more than 3 hours of sleep. Likes revamp. No, I had to. I had to do it, Crystal. There were so many things that were wrong that I never finished. And it was stopping me from, welcome Inspirational. It was stopping me from like my SEO and getting stuff out there. Like there's a lot that goes into a website that if it's not done right, you could have the greatest product in the world, but if nobody sees it, then what good is it? I needed to get everything in order, but some of it I didn't know how to do it because I'm not a marketing person. But now that I hooked up with the marketing person, I know how to do it. Now it's just a matter of doing it. And she gave me some really good suggestions. But I can't take over the world if I don't do it right. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at. We're doing it right. No, I'll never have to redo it again. This is it. I mean, I'll have to like change pictures and stuff, but I'll never have to redo content again. Like this is it. I'm just doing it right, getting it done and being done. Then we can promote the fuck out of it. So on that note, I'm out. I will see you beautiful people tomorrow. Maybe Sunday. I am not drinking lots of water. I am not. I'm honest when I say that. I'm not. I do have to start. I keep saying I'm giving myself just a couple more days through radiation, and then I'll get serious. But if I don't see you guys, have a wonderful Memorial Day. Monday is my brother's birthday. If I have a wonderful Memorial Day, and that's it. I'll see you beautiful people later. Thank you guys so much for the memberships. Thank you guys so much for chilling with me. And Tuesday, I might stream the trial. I don't know. But every day, I got to leave at like 2. So we'll see. Oh, it's your birthday? Happy birthday. I don't sing, or I'd sing happy birthday, but I don't sing. Sweet one, I'm horrible. Horrible with drinking water. Just so you know. Horrible. And I own it. So, all right. I'll see you beautiful people later. Have a wonderful night and peace out. Peace out, bean sprouts.